Hey, so I decided that I want to read Manacled, and that should be a ride, so yeah. Hello, welcome. I'm filming this kind of like in the middle of my journey while reading Manacled, and I just one day decided that I wanted to read it. I heard it's getting traditionally published, so I downloaded just like the regular like fan fiction on AO3 and when I started this I didn't have any insight into Manacled. I still don't. I don't know anything about what happens. I have like slight hints that I've heard over I don't want to say years, months I guess, that it is kind of like Handmaid's Tale-esque. I haven't read Handmaid's Tale, I haven't watched it. I know the premise more or less, but that's really all I know about the fanfiction. It has to do with Draco, Hermione. It's romance? Not really, but you know, I feel like there's romance in there somewhere. It's like a Hermione fanfic, and yeah, I just want to say that I don't support J.K. Rowling at all or anything that she's ever said in her life ever, but I just want to read Manacled. I do love Harry Potter. I read Harry Potter. I've watched Harry Potter millions of times, honestly, and I really love that universe, so I do have the background knowledge of the books and the movies. This is going to be a spoiler reading vlog. There's going to be a timestamps at the bottom. I'm going to include a non-spoiler review, so if you don't want to know anything about what happens, skip to the end and I'll give you a non-spoiler review, and then after that there'll be a spoiler review. But this is a spoiler reading vlog. If you read it and you just want to vibe with me and see what I think and my reactions to everything, stay here. And if not, I'll see you in the spoiler review. So, I'll see you either way. Okay, hello, we're back. I'm in bed and I'm wearing my Hogsmeade shirt. Hogsmeade, right? No, Diagon Alley. My Diagon Alley shirt. So we can get in the mood, the vibes. I'm trying to fix this light over here. It's just dangling from the wristband off my camera right now. But whatever. Let's find this fanfic right now and just download it and start it. No way it's on Goodreads. No way. Manacled, I believe, was gonna be turned into a movie. This is why I'm doing this. So what I heard, I feel like it was either, I think it was Manacled, it was going to be turned into a movie or going to be adapted for a movie, but obviously you can't use these characters, so they were gonna, you know, change the names. I don't know what else they were going to change, but I really wanted the original work, so yeah, that's how I got here, if you were wondering. 815 pages. We're on our way. I'm going to read, it starts on page 5. I'm gonna read until page 20 and I'm gonna get back to you, or I'll just update you on how we're going. I heard that this is like a kind of like not a retelling, but kind of a little bit based on Handmaid's Tale. Haven't read Handmaid's Tale. I've been meaning to do either of those things, but I just haven't. So this is my first encounter with anything of that kind whatsoever. So let's just get into this. Okay, interesting development. I'm on page 12, but they're keeping Hermione alive or something. I feel like it's something Handmaid's Tale related. But this is already, I knew it was dark, but this is dark. Anyways, obviously they lost the war. Voldemort is alive and well, and Harry died. The thing, okay, I expected him to die, but the way that they treated him after, should I spoiler reviews? Yeah, sure. Everyone watched Harry rot, like, off the astronomy tower. Not only that, but okay, they killed Ron. I don't know if I was expecting that, but they did. But the thing that got me was that his whole family died, along with Tonks and Lupin, which is canon, but Ron's family, I love Ron's family. That's actually so sad. But I want to see what's going on with Hermione, what's going on internally with her, like, situation.
you know, her brain and the 16 months of torture she endured. At the beginning, I thought it was just like a few, like at most a few weeks. I was not expecting 16 months. That's insane. And Dolores, she's been awful then in the books, and she's awful now. Wouldn't expect anything less. So let's just keep going and see what happens. Hey! So it's been like 2 days and I figured we should talk manacled. So here we are, okay? I bookmarked like 2 pages or 4 pages, I don't know how this works, like split screen, that I want to talk about and just let you know how I'm feeling about this right now. Off the bat, this is way darker than I thought it was gonna be. I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect this, you know? Right off the bat, I'm really interested in the story, and honestly, I never, like, I know the books, I know the characters and everything. I never thought that, like, reading about these characters and the thing that they went through non-canonically would be, like, so sad for me. Like, I know, like, people talk about, like, like comfort characters and all this stuff, but like I don't know, like it truly makes me sad. Like I feel like I know these people and it was just like depressing, especially what happened to Ron. Ron is my favorite, I have to say. I love Ron, underappreciated, but Ron, the Weasleys and everything, it was just like I was like, what the hell? Okay, that's one. I bookmarked this page because, again, this is, like, about the Weasleys, and it said they left Molly for last so she could witness all of her children die. And that's, like, the literal worst thing for Molly ever because she loves all of her kids so much. I love Molly. I will not accept Molly slander. I get her criticisms, but at the end of the day, I love Molly so much. And just, like, you know, that they did that to her in the first place, like, crazy. I'll beat him up. Who was it? Lucius? It was freaking Lucius, wasn't it? And the way Ron died, I'm reading this again, was crazy. Turning his blood to molten lead. And for Hermione to watch that happen to him, I'm guessing they were still, like, together in this universe. This version of things. But you know what this is kind of like, it's not reminding me of, but I feel like this is what, well, I guess it's not really. I was gonna say this is what the cursed child wished it was, because did you read The Cursed Child? Anyway, I didn't like it. It tried some things, but I feel like this is so much more, like, interesting. Like, you know, they did the twist of, like, what if Harry had the whatever, but this, like, takes it to another level. Now, I was thinking, like, realistically, would Voldemort do this? Wouldn't put it past him, but I don't feel like that would be his first objective. Call me crazy. I have never really thought what he would do after the war if he had won, but, like, this is interesting to just, like, figure out, like, the way things would have turned out. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Thoughts are, you know. So, as well as, you know, the Weasleys, Harry, and, like, everyone who died, Remus and Tonks also died. But Remus withstood the most because of his the healing power, you know, that he had as a werewolf. So, eventually someone just killed him because, not out of mercy or anything, but because they were bored. It makes me mad. Let's go to my next bookmark page. Next one is in chapter 6. The other one was in chapter 3, I believe. So Hermione has officially made her way to Malfoy Manor. Malfoy is still married to Astoria in this timeline. And I had heard of, like, very mild things about Manacled in the first place. So I, in the back of my head, knew that the High Reeve was Draco. Like, I was putting that together. I just needed, like, solid confirmation. And I got the solid confirmation that the High Reeve was Draco. So, question answered. He killed Dumbledore. There's a few changes in the timeline and the story of the original Harry Potter books. Dumbledore died in the first, 3 weeks of 6th year, when originally it was the end of 6th year, and then Draco disappeared. Something to note also is that I find it actually really interesting how the manacles actually work. Like, when Hermione went into, like, detail about how she thought they were working by, you know, restraining the magic and doing all this, like, love it. Give me all the information. but also really interesting. Yeah, I talked about this, how I didn't think she was trapped for 16 months, and the fact that she raised barriers in her mind to keep people out and protect the secrets. Now, what are the secrets? I have my suspicions. She does not remember why Dumbledore's hand was so important and why she was focusing on that. So my thing is that I think the Horcruxes, they didn't get to destroying all of them, or maybe there was a few missing, but off the bat, based on canon, I'm guessing Dumbledore destroyed the ring. The diary is gone, and Harry would be the other part of Voldemort that is now dead. So I feel like the Horcruxes are what Hermione's just blocking out so people don't see what the Order's plan was. Again, the timeline would have had to have changed because Dumbledore only told Harry about the Horcruxes at the end of 6th year, I believe. Well, they figured, whatever. You know the story, you know how it goes. I'm just like putting this together and trying to remember. But whatever. That leaves the question of who of the Orders left. Now we know McGonagall's dead. Moody, Tonks, Lupin, Dumbledore, Snape is working with Voldemort, so I'm assuming that he is on Voldemort's side. So I think Snape is on Voldemort's side because of, you know, in the books, Dumbledore's plan with Snape to be the one to kill him instead of Draco. That was the plan, that was the way it was supposed to go, and in this universe, Malfoy did it. So I don't know what Snape's motives are here, but you know, whatever. So Hermione's obviously traumatized, and this one quote was everything. And it says, "Once upon a time there had been a girl who fought, who believed that books and cleverness and friendship and bravery could overcome all things. But now that girl was gone. She'd been all but killed during the war." Chef's kiss. Writing, level 1000. That was beautiful. Loved it. Honestly, I don't know. I was trying to predict how this would end. It could end various ways. Now, kudos to Hermione for literally trying to come up with a plan to get herself out of the situation. Do I think it'll be possible? Not at this moment. I'm on what chapter am I on? 6, I think. I think the most probable thing is for her to die. I just right now don't see a way for her to get out of the situation. And that's where I'll keep it. That's my last word. Those are all the things I wanted to talk about. I'll read a little bit more and I'll update you either later today or tomorrow about how it's going. But right now, this is more than I've read in a very long time. So happy about that. I'll see you soon. I'm gonna keep reading.
Hello, we're back. It's been a few days, different setting, different everything. But I've been reading Manacled. I'm on page 1 something, but I wanted to go over the stuff that I've bookmarked. Back on, I feel like this is a book club. I'm like telling you, like on chapter, I don't know what chapter this is. What chapter am I on? I don't know. But it's the one where Hermione dreams of Harry, and then we kind of figure out that she wanted to use dark magic to go against, you know, Voldemort and everyone. And people were saying, no, we can't use dark magic. But like, I get her point. And in retrospect, when Hermione was first getting out of like her cell and everything, I think she bumped into Hannah, and Hannah told her, "You were right," or something like that. And now we know we should have listened to you, something like that. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, okay, what did Hermione say? And now I'm thinking that ties back to this, saying that you were right, we should have used dark magic, so we could have, it would have helped in their fight against Voldemort. Chapter 11, this is where I figure out how to highlight stuff because I've never used books on iPad. So chapter 11, we find out that Draco has a look into Hermione's mind all the time. So she's like a little voice in the back of his head, and those are her thoughts. So basically everything she's thinking about, all of her escape plans, all of her plans, whatever she's thinking about to kind of uncover the memories that he'll eventually see anyway through you know what I mean. He was gonna see that anyway, but he's also able to see it in the moment. Like anything she's thinking, oh, like I want you to die, he already knows that, and he's like, gee, thanks. This is why I'm kind of wondering how this book is gonna end, because honestly, if she doesn't get him on her side in some way, shape, or form, which if I remember correctly, at one point I feel like they do get together. I'm getting a phone call. I have to go pick someone up. Oh dang, if I don't do this now, I don't know. I'm gonna do it during the week. Damn it, we have so much to get through. I'm on chapter 17 and we're only on chapter 11. So all I wanted to say is that he's in her head. That's really interesting. Wondering how the book is gonna end in the first place, because she really can't make a plan without him knowing about it. He's gonna have to get on her side. And what I know about this is I think they get into a relationship, but I don't know how that's gonna work, because obviously it's like Stockholm syndrome, I feel like, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. I guess we'll see how it develops, and if something's gonna happen. He's gonna help her escape, and he's gonna die, and she's gonna get away, and it's gonna be sad because they were together, but like Stockholm syndrome. Or I don't know, Voldemort is dying. That is something, is on chapter 17, but we'll get to that. But I have to go right now, so I'll talk to you real soon. Probably not today, probably during the week, but you won't even know the difference. I'll know the difference though, okay? I'll see you later. Hello. I figured we could have a mukbang, a little break, and while I eat, because I'm home absolutely alone for a few days. So I don't know why I've always wanted, don't ask me why, but I've always wanted to do a mukbang on TikTok, but I've never actually done one, because I feel like people would be like, why are you doing this? So today, I haven't had Chick-fil-A in a really long time. So we have Chick-fil-A. We got a Chick-fil-A deluxe sandwich, no pickles, because I don't like pickles, come at me. And we made it a meal, so we have fries as well. And I regret getting the milkshake, I'm not gonna lie, because I was like confused. Because usually I get a lemonade, because the lemonade, if you haven't had it at Chick-fil-A, is like super good. It's just like so good. And so today I was like, do I want a milkshake? And I've kind of been wanting chocolate since like this morning. So that's why I was like in my head. And then I ordered it, 3 minutes passed, and I was like, wait, I didn't want that milkshake. But now I kind of want it. So that's what we're dealing with. But I figured I could sit here and eat, and we could talk about the chapters I was talking about earlier. Oh, that was a good decision. Cool. Oh, that was a really good decision, actually. I am sitting in my bed. Don't touch it. Just go with it. Here is our sandwich. I feel weird eating on camera now. Am I built for the mukbang life? I don't know. Mukbang, mukbang. I don't know which one it is. I'm cutting that out because you do not need to see me eat like that. It's good. You're not going to be getting those mukbang sounds though, because I don't like it. When they're like all up in your face and they're like chewing. I'm not here for it. I'm really hungry. Hold on. We're trying to make the bite prettier, okay? Gorgeous. 2 bites in, let's get into it. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. Chapter 13, first page, okay? I'm not gonna speak with my mouth full, that's disrespectful. So Draco's hosting this New Year's Eve party, and Hermione's up by herself, right? Everybody's downstairs. And a man walks into her room. Everyone at this party is obviously Voldemort affiliated, Death Eater, if not very closely in that group. But he comes in there and he's like, oh, you don't remember me? Triggered something, obviously. What do you mean you don't remember me? And Hermione was like, no, like, but she doesn't know if she should be recognizing him from school or because he was secretly affiliated with the Order and Voldemort didn't know. In my head, that is also what I was thinking. Me and Hermione were on the same wavelength, and I feel like everybody else was, because that's so obvious that she would immediately think that he was somehow Order affiliated, which, even though Draco shot it down, I feel like it has to be true, because if not, why would he go out of his way looking for Hermione? His name is Montague, and the thing is that Hermione later goes through the manor, and she finds Astoria cheating on Draco with Montague. Not only that, but he's there even after the party, like days after, like they have like an affair going on, but he's always like looking around, you know, like around the manor. Obviously Draco's gonna figure this out because of the, I keep having trouble with this word, legitimacy. And because, you know, he literally has her voice in the back of his head. So he turns that down, saying that no, he's a Death Eater, he's marked, and all, you know, Voldemort's plan. But I find it weird, I find it suspicious, Would he try to get her out? Maybe, but I feel like if that happens at one point or the other, he will die. Because I don't trust anyone in the story, and I believe everyone is working against us just because everybody wants Hermione to suffer. So, even if he is on her side, he is done for. I don't believe he's gonna be able to get her out. I feel awkward eating on camera now. We're gonna see if I get used to it. Next, okay, we're still at this New Year's Eve party, okay? And Umbridge is there. Draco is eyeing something on Umbridge's neck. Now, you and me both know what happened in the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Umbridge had a Horcrux around her neck as a necklace, the one that was originally supposed to be in the cave. Now, I was just wondering, obviously the Horcruxes have to be like, you know, I don't know how much of the story has changed or, you know, something like that. So in my head, like, the Horcruxes could be something that was still in the story or something not in the story. They kept it in, now we know. Confirmed. I'm gonna tie this into another chapter. So Umbridge was giving a speech or with the Minister of Magic. She was by his side and she has a Horcrux around her neck. And the Resistance, which the Order's dead, but between you and me, do we call them the Resistance or the Order? The Resistance is giving Star Wars, so we're gonna call them Order 2.0. Someone in the Order 2.0, in everybody else's mind, tries to attack the Minister of Magic. Voldemort is very upset by this. Not because they were attacking the Minister of Magic, but because they actually ended up killing Umbridge, aiming for Umbridge in his mind because he knows that she had the Horcrux around her neck. Now, my completely separate question is, why would Umbridge have the Horcrux if Voldemort, you know, like in my head, like, does he trust her that much to have like a piece of his soul around her neck? I mean, I guess nobody else would know about it, but like still, don't you want that close to you? Weird. I wouldn't trust her. But they aim for her, they kill her. And Voldemort's pissed off because he knows that they were aiming for that Horcrux. Did they get it? I can't remember. We're gonna have to see. It's been a while. It's been like a few days since I've read. But that is something I wanted to talk about because it's interesting to know. So Hermione has another recollection. She has a dream about Ginny. So in the dream, Hermione kind of, well, finds out, I guess, in a way, because she doesn't remember, that Ginny and Harry were dating, in a relationship, whatever you want to call it. And she didn't know that prior to her seeing the stream. So in her head, she's like thinking, oh, like, was I doing this to protect Ginny? Which is a very valid point, because since Voldemort didn't even know they were in a relationship, he left her to be in the breeding program, which I believe she escaped, and that's when she died. Draco killed her. But again, Voldemort finds out about it, obviously, when he goes through her memories, and he actually was like, oh yeah, like, if I had known, like, I would have tortured her or whatever. I don't think that's what Hermione was hiding. I think it's one of the things she was hiding, but I want to know what else she has in her mind. I think it's about the Horcruxes and about how to actually kill Voldemort. We've heard about a snake, but I don't know if it's Nagini. So I want to know how many Horcruxes they got to. They went to Hogwarts, so that would mean they were looking for the crown. Did they make it to Bellatrix's vault? Where are these Horcruxes? See, this is where I'm like in the dark. Like, I don't know how much of the book has happened and occurred and how that intertwines with the story. I don't know if they're hidden in the same places. One of them is around Dolores's neck, so obviously not. I'm just trying to piece this out too. And I kind of love this mystery right now. I'm kind of living for it. In Hermione's dream, she also remembers that Snape had been training her to be a potions master. Snape was there when Hermione got chosen to, you know, be in the program. So to her, it's like a betrayal. Obviously, he was working both sides. Now, again, my question, is he a double agent? Because we know he was Voldemort's double agent, but is he Dumbledore's triple agent? That is what I want to know. I want to know so many things, and it's really interesting to me. I'm eating it up, honestly. Not only the food, but the story too. And in the dream, Ginny asks if Snape and her were romantically involved because they were spending a lot of time together, and Ginny had gone to her for like a birth control kind of potion, and she was like, oh, I have some. And she was like, you and Snape? Which, through that segue, we confirmed that Ron and Hermione were not together, and that Ron was hooking up throughout the war to deal with everything. I feel like that relationship is so heavily ingrained in my brain that they just can't not be together, you know? And he's dead now, so I mean. Okay, I have this marked about Umbridge. We're gonna go back there for a minute. It was a crossbow. I'm just gonna read this so we can go over this together. She did not immediately die. Shards of a necklace and the shaft of an arrow slowed the bleeding. Shards of a necklace. Someone took the arrow out because I guess they're stupid, because you're not supposed to remove that stuff. And she died. She bled out. Okay, shards of a necklace. You know what I assume? The arrow was dunked in basilisk venom and then aimed at the necklace directly, because we have shards of a necklace. Shards of a necklace. Obviously broke and she died. And that would mean to me, I assume if the basilisk venom was used, Voldemort's soul died. If not, it's indestructible, actually. So the basilisk venom had to be on the arrow, no matter what. Yeah, because basilisk venom is the only one of the only things that can kill a Horcrux. So unless it's something else, there's no way for that necklace to have broken. I feel like that guy with the freaking threads again. That is what happened. I stand with that, at least until it's confirmed. But that is my main theory right now. Obviously, Hermione's really happy to know that somebody tried to kill the Minister of Magic, because that means the Resistance is still alive. I don't want to call it the Resistance, okay? The Order, Part 2. Part 2? Is that what it's calling it? The Order's still alive and there's still resistance against Voldemort, even though he has the majority power as of right now. And then we meet with Voldemort. And Voldemort says something very interesting that I did not remember until I saw this. He's talking to Draco and he asks him, have you learned how the locket came to be in her possession? Which, from what I said before about him knowing that Umbridge had his locket, was wrong. He did not know, which is weird, but Draco did. The question is, he was eyeing it. I assume as hand to Voldemort, not hand to the king, hand to Voldemort, you would know what the pieces of his soul look like, unless Voldemort doesn't want to tell anyone. But I'm guessing because he's wondering how it came to be in Umbridge's possession, like, he was eyeing it. I feel like he knew what it was, but why didn't he take it away? Unless he wants, I'm creating a conspiracy that Draco wants Voldemort dead too. But he's like, I'm gonna keep using the Game of Thrones reference. He's hand to the king. I think Hermione thought about this as well at one point. She was like, maybe he wants to take over Voldemort's position and he wants his power. Here it is. I don't know why I'm forgetting. It's because I read this when I'm about to go to sleep, and I remember these few pages. I was like literally falling asleep and waking up and then wondering how I got there, and I kept going back to reread these pages. So that is why I haven't fully captured this. Draco says, no, I don't know how she got it in the first place. He was like, I've been investigating quietly, whatever. And Voldemort says, so you know nothing, not how the Order managed to destroy it from such an impossible distance, not how they managed to identify it, not even how she obtained it. Is there anything you do know? Draco's in a pickle. He knows none of this information. Voldemort's going crazy. And honestly, I mean, if somebody destroyed a piece of your soul, you'd be going crazy too. But there's a lot of mysteries here. No idea how she got it. No idea how the Order knows, which I assume it's because Dumbledore, Harry, this is kind of from his point of view, like Voldemort's point of view, trying to figure out how they knew this in the first place. Which I believe he originally like says it's like, oh, Slughorn told him about it, whatever. And he passed on the news. Then he Crucios him. I will not fail you, my lord. Every time someone says my lord, I think of Lord Farquaad. Like that one when he's trying to pick like a princess. And you're like, oh, who will you pick? Door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3? And then one of the little goons in the bag was like, please number 3, my lord. Is that too niche? That's not niche. Shrek is not niche. I assume you know this. I assume you know your Shrek lore. We're getting close. We only have 4 more things to go over. I'm gonna cut this down because this is long. I finished my sandwich. It was good. I've decided this is our last mukbang because I cannot deal with you seeing me eat. And with the stuff that could be stuck in my teeth, I could never. I don't know how people do it. I don't know. It's the only ASMR you'll be getting from me. Yep. Okay, we're back. I took a little break just to get reacquainted and see what we're gonna talk about, okay? So we're getting into Hermione figuring things out about Voldemort and what happened, and the fact that the Order 2.0 attacked, what's it called? Umbridge, specifically because she had the locket and not the Minister of Magic. She's putting things together, and she knows this is not a new resistance group because they attacked Umbridge specifically. It had to have been either, you know, like new members come into the Order, I'm guessing new members come in, and as people die out, because a lot of the members from the old Order have died, the knowledge gets passed down. But I kind of want to take a gander as to who's still alive. Kingsley hasn't been mentioned, I believe, but I want to believe Kingsley is still alive. McGonagall's dead, Moody's dead, the Weasleys, Dumbledore, Snape. Snape, I'm on the fence about. I want to believe that he's with the Order, but I just don't know for sure, and for that reason, I'm just kind of like Harry. I'm just like side-eyeing him, even though not everyone trusts him, because listen, he could be just like Deathly Hollowing us all over again. Well, yeah, is that the term? He could be fooling us again. He could be on our side, but pretending he's not on our side. But again, Voldemort can like look into your memories and see all of that. Listen, I guess he trusted Snape so much. I'm talking about the original books that he didn't have. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You keep falling over. But listen, Voldemort has the ability to read people's minds. I get that it's harder with, like, you know, the more resistance you have to it, but he could have done that to Snape and he could have figured out that he was a double agent, but that would have ruined the whole story. But whatever, I'm just saying. Keep your Death Eaters on a tight leash. But I want to believe that he's on our side. Hermione figures out that Voldemort had a tether to Harry, which obviously was, you know, some of his soul once again being in Harry, and she puts it together, and then she realizes that no progress has been made since Harry died. And for some reason in my head, the war ends when Harry dies, because, you know, Harry was supposed to be the one to kill Voldemort. If Voldemort was gonna die, I want to believe it was solely gonna be Harry. But frankly, it could be anyone who kills the Horcruxes. Like, you know, Harry's dead. That part of Voldemort's soul is dead. So realistically, if you get the other Horcruxes, you can kill Voldemort, you know? The last thing I had highlighted was Hermione asking the question, Voldemort is dying, isn't he? And yeah, then she passed out. So I'm gonna listen, I'm tired, but I'm gonna take a break. I'll read later. It's 9, I want to say 9, yeah, it's 9:09. We still have time. It'll be all good. And then I'm gonna read before I go to bed. And I'll update you on any interesting things I come across. And we can talk about it in the moment. So yeah, I'll see you in like 2 seconds.
2,000 years later.
Hi. Oh, okay. If you didn't know, I started this video in October and I stopped reading in October. It's June 22nd. Yeah, so I have footage that I already like edited for this video, and I actually looked through it yesterday, and I'm in between books at the moment. I was actually trying to figure out what to read next, and I've kind of come to the decision that I'm going to pick this back up. I know it's been like 2 seconds for you, but it's been literally months for me. So I'm gonna pick it back up. I'm gonna see how it goes. It's not because I lost interest or anything, it's just because I picked up another book and I just kind of focused on that for a bit, and then I just never went back to Manacled. But I feel like I want to follow this through, and I want to finish this, like fully, completely, like be done with it, and then we can pick something else up. So I'm planning on picking it up today. I'll let you know how it goes. But yeah, just wanted to give you an update as to where my headspace is right now, because it's been a while. 8 months. It's a lot. It's almost a year. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I wanted to update you, and yeah, I actually rewatched all my footage, so I'm pretty up to date, at least to where I left off with you guys. I'm gonna probably go back like 5 or 10 pages and reread that to be like, you know, up to date, and then we're just gonna continue. Yeah, okay. I'll see you later. Hello. I have things I want to talk about. Oh my god. To even consider that Montauk could have been trying to help in any way is absolutely diabolical looking back at it. I really thought someone was gonna try and help, but I think I said this, but I was like, this book is like, did I say this? I've been thinking it. I'm like, this book is really dark, like very dark, and maybe subconsciously that's why I took like 8 months off, because like it's a lot. And especially with Montauk, and then 5 seconds later what happened with Astoria. Hello? We're gonna go in timeline order from where I left off. Okay, so we kind of go into the fact that Hermione was in the healing section of the war, not actually fighting like Harry and Ron. And can I read this to you? This is talking about Ron, and how when she came back from all the settings she needed to do to become a healer, she didn't have the same type of friendship with Ron and Harry that she used to have, which is tragic. It's tragic. Okay. The luster of heroism and envy he used to have for Harry vanished. War quickly sobered him, and understanding bonded him and Harry even more closely together, mending any fractures his past jealousy had created over the years. They became united in guilt, determination, and idealism. Closer than brothers. They had little room for Hermione. Okay, let's talk about it. I feel like even in the, I don't know, I want to say that they were always like 3 best friends, but you could also like, I don't know, because they were both boys. Like, I know Hermione definitely needed like a friend who was a girl, but she only ever had boys around her. But you could really sense the kinship that Harry and Ron had together, and for that to even be more exemplified than it was, to now completely exclude Hermione. Not intentionally, of course, but like, it's just sad because she was alone all this time. She thought that she could get back in with her friends, and that just never happened. And this is funny because can we just listen to Hermione every once in a while calling her crazy for taking up healing instead of fighting, even though they needed healers too. I mean, if you put 2 and 2 together, war, you need healers. Hello. When Dumbledore died only a few months later, she had felt keenly aware of how vital a role healing and potions would play and whether the resistance would survive the war long enough to win it. But she was the only one worrying about it. Everyone regarded her as a paranoid. Hospitals were neutral territory. Everyone needed healing. There would always be St. Mungo's to turn to. But then they were terrorists. Hospitals weren't neutral for terrorists. But in this case, Voldemort is bombing hospitals, but because he's blaming it on the Order. So no one will want to be affiliated with them. When from his point of view, honestly, it's smart because it's a way to divide the Order, and everybody I feel like was in favor of the Order. And then Voldemort kind of puts this twist on it to be like, no, like they're the bad ones. And what are people gonna think if they're not directly involved in the war? Of course they're gonna go towards Voldemort. It kind of like puts him in a place of like the lesser of 2 evils. Like you have like a rebellion happening and they're killing a lot of people, but like we're not doing anything. Like we are just defending ourselves, even though we're kind of sketchy ourselves too. But you don't want to deal with the Order because they're doing worse things than we are, which strategy, I guess. And then we kind of get back onto the topic of unforgivable curses with she didn't necessarily want to use them, but people were calling her crazy anyway. She just wanted the explicit permission for people who are directly fighting to be able to use an unforgivable curse as a in self-defense. And her even proposing this and everyone being so against it, like completely like deteriorated her other friendships within the Order or within the Resistance, whatever you want to call it. Like Hermione's not having a good time. People just need to appreciate Hermione. Like, I mean, you go through 6 books up to the Half-Blood Prince where Hermione's always helping everyone. You'd think that you would turn back and be like, yeah, Hermione, you're right. You've been right for 6 years already. Like, I don't know. I need to address something. I'm reading this and I'm finding it like very dark. And I have to say that the things that Malfoy is doing, like and the other, what's it called, Death Eaters are doing to the girls who have been given to them with an explicit purpose, if you know what I'm saying. It's bad, okay? I'm just having a hard time saying, like, seeing how, knowing this background knowledge that Draco and Hermione are probably gonna get together, like, the way people talk about this, it's like a love story, right? That's the kind of general idea I'm getting from what I've heard online. I haven't heard anything explicit. I haven't dove into like anything that happens in this book, but I know that it's a fanfic. They're gonna get together, and I have a hard time rationalizing how this is gonna happen, because she's doing all of these things to him, and we get to a point in the story where she was like, well, he's not as bad, like, he doesn't want to be doing this, like, he's doing it because it's an order. Yeah, but he's still doing it. Like, not wanting to do it, I feel, is bare minimum, and shouldn't be looked at in any different light than bare minimum. Because what do you mean, like, oh, he doesn't want to do it? Like, yeah, but he killed a lot of your friends. What do you mean? And okay, her viewing him in this kind of light is Stockholm syndrome, because close quarters, I guess he's not treating you in the worst way than all of these other girls are being treated, that you know that they're being treated this way because of information that you have gathered throughout the months that you've been here. But like, from my point of view, I'm having a hard time getting on board where this is gonna go. And with that being the case, oh, this will come up later. I'll leave it at that for right now. But look, listen to this. She goes, she wondered if he had worn that outfit when he killed Ginny, Minerva McGonagall. Okay, I'm gonna go by first names. Ginny, McGonagall, Moody, Neville, Dean, Seamus, Professor Sprout, Madame Pomfrey. I'm getting a call, sorry. Flitwick, and Oliver Wood. All of your friends, all of the order. Hello. Okay, sorry, I'm back. As for Kingsley, my question about Kingsley, yeah, he got rid of him too. He was in my way. You're telling me that she's gonna fall in love with him? Without Stockholm syndrome, I find that very hard to believe. Very hard. With all of those people being dead, we come to the point that someone did attack Umbridge. Who did it? I'm out of ideas. I don't know who it was. My last resort, knowing everyone was dead, was Kingsley. But Kingsley's gone too. So I'm fully out of ideas. I don't know who it could be. And honestly, I'm really interested. I'm very interested, actually, because who is that? And Draco is going crazy trying to figure out who this is, and he hasn't found whoever it is. And I'm thoroughly wondering, who is this? Could it be Snape? I find that it's very hard for it to be Snape in this case, because like, he's working so close with Voldemort and everything. I don't think that he has the means to do this. Also, Bellatrix is dead. I don't know how that happened, but that happened. And yeah, that was in the conversation of like, is Draco doing all this because he knows he's next in line for the Dark Lord position after Voldemort kicks the can because Bellatrix is gone? I mean, it looks like it could be him, because honestly, who else is doing all of this? No one. Yeah, and then we get to the Montauk stuff. Also, wait a minute. I forgot, I completely glazed around this when I talked about Montauk. And you know, saying that Draco doesn't really do anything that bad. I mean, like, this, what Montauk was doing was bad. But saying that he's like, using the case that he's like maybe not violent. Yeah, not violent towards you. But what he did to Montauk, I don't even know how he's still walking. Yeah, I don't get how you, and then yank like that. It's just reminding me of Once Upon a Time. You know, when the evil queen like goes in and she takes your heart out. But what? I was not expecting that. I have to say, I did not expect this book to go there or to be like that gory, but it went there. I find it weird to say that she's gonna fall in love with him. I don't know. I don't know if this book is gonna turn me in any way, because I know this is a lot of people's like favorite book or like favorite fanfic or whatever, but this is my first fanfic, and honestly the story is very interesting. I have to give it that, but just knowing that they're gonna, I don't know, maybe I'll come to like hit myself in the head when I was like, no, like they're in love, but like right now I'm like, what do you, I don't know. Yeah, and then we get to like Astoria's little skerfuffle that she had. I knew he was gonna come, but Astoria, what are you doing? What are you doing? She kind of lost her mind when Montauk died because she thought, oh, like Draco killed him for me. But no, it was for Hermione. Like, and she goes, maybe Draco would spend less time obsessing over you if you had two. If you know the reference, you know the reference. If you know, you know. That was pretty gory too, honestly. And Draco just calling Astoria useless to him, I know that hurt her. But like, girl, why are you doing all this? Like, I guess she wants to be like a good wife or whatever, but like, get a hobby. I don't know. For a minute, I forgot why Hermione needed to get pregnant. And then that's why I highlighted this line. The Dark Lord may have reason for concern if she continues to be unfruitful, as you know his desire for it is dual in nature. I was under the impression that using magical pregnancy to unlock memories necessitated the father to be the legitimate. And that's when they dropped the bomb that if Draco doesn't do it, Lucius will. And that's kind of when the shift starts to happen with Hermione, that like, rather have Draco than Lucius. Lucius is nuts. Lucius is nuts. Actually, what? Lucius Malfoy, who was insane, far more insane than Bellatrix Lestrange had been. We don't see unhinged Lucius on screen. We see like devious Lucius, but not like full out nuts like Bellatrix was. Bellatrix, to me, like, in a fight, I'll take Lucius over Bellatrix. But to find out that he's crazier than her now, like, what happened? And this is interesting because we find out that Hermione has like done some stuff like to Montauk. Montauk was saying like she like stabbed him multiple times and Hermione was like, me? And this is when they drop this line. When had she become someone that Voldemort would describe as dangerous? A person who leveled half a prison, who burned Dementors, and stabbed Grand Montauk with poisoned knives. Hermione had no idea where that version of herself could have come from, but she found it difficult to believe that that person had ever existed. Yeah, who, like, when did that, sorry, my case is died. I was picking at it yesterday while I was reading. Do not look at my case. I have to get a new one. But I kind of want to read about this, like, when she got to this point to, like, burning Dementors. And something that I know about the structure of this book was that there are multiple ways to read it. There is flashbacks in here. So I heard some people say you could read the flashbacks first and then read this, or you could read it the way it was intended, which is the way I'm doing it. Because there was like a form of mystery here, not knowing what happened in the past, and knowing that just kind of takes that away. But knowing it, I guess, also adds something to the story when you go back and read it again. But maybe we can go back and read it again another day. But I'm reading it the way it was written. And then we kind of lead up to the fact that, oh, like, Draco doesn't like what he's doing. Or, like, you get that kind of insinuation. I don't like it. I don't like thinking that this is, like, a good thing. Because, again, bare minimum, you shouldn't want to do this. Like, it should actually make you sick. I'm getting another call. Okay, hi, I'm back. We're getting kind of to the end of where I stopped, but this might be kind of crazy of me to say, okay? This is what I highlighted. They're talking about Amortensia, and Hermione smells one, okay? Follow me, okay? The spicy, earthy scent of oak moss, smoky undertones of cedar, and a bruised scent of oxidizing leaves and parchment. No, she sniffed it again. Papyrus. That's quite a variety of love potions you're brewing. And she's talking to Snape. Follow me, okay? Follow me. I don't know why, but you know, like online when they sell like scented candles and stuff, and sometimes people like associate them to like fictional characters. Tell me why this feels like the combination that people would use with Draco Malfoy. Do you catch my drift? And this is during the war. What if they were together? Okay, follow me a little bit. What if they dated on the DL? Maybe before the war started, or maybe, no, can't be during the war. It had to have been before 6th year. Or maybe 6th year is where he like betrayed Hermione and killed Dumbledore and then went to the dark side. The dark side, what is it, Star Wars? To the Dark Lord, whatever. It's just the oak moss and the cedar that's kind of pushing me to say that this is what Draco smells like. And then they kind of go into the conversation of why he's doing this in the first place. What would constitute as a weaponized love potion? Something of exceptional power that doesn't require redosage. I believe he images himself using it for interrogations. But then I was like, could she have been dosed with a love potion? Maybe when she was like still at, where were they at? Where were they keeping these people? I don't know. I don't think it was Azkaban. The Dungeons of Hogwarts? I don't remember where she first appeared, like at the beginning of the story, but what if they gave her a love potion and it's slowly taken effect? And that's why she's falling in love with Draco. I don't know. I don't know. And then where I left off is my last quote that I highlighted for us today. Wizards tended to use more and more dark magic and stronger types of dark arts until they eroded themselves away like Voldemort was, or went mad the way Lucius and Bellatrix had. So using all the dark magic really went to his head, and that's when he went crazy. Lucius, I mean. Hermione's kind of wondering why Draco hasn't gone insane or doesn't look the way Voldemort does with all of the unforgivable curses that he uses, because mentally and physically he looks fine. It's odd to her that he still looks okay. Hey, what's up? It's the same day, but later. I just wanted to go through a few things that I read so that I can continue on like reading. We're starting off on page 186. And here we get to the kind of like perception that Hermione has of Draco. Malfoy was not the monster she initially perceived him as being. After learning what happened to other surrogates, after what Montauk had tried to do to her, after Astoria, after becoming terrified of what cruelty Lucius Malfoy would devise if her surrogacy were transferred, the person she perceived Malfoy as being had shifted. You know how I feel about this already. I'm not going to reiterate myself, okay? And then next, we get to the manacles. And I feel like this maybe is also having the effect on how she's perceiving everything, because they'd always been intended to cultivate compliance and dependence, to remove the ability to resist, which is kind of aiding in that Stockholm syndrome since she is dependent on him. But I'm seriously considering the fact that they might have had something going on at Hogwarts, because there's no way that her Amortensia smells like cedar and moss or whatever it was. I feel like, I don't know. And I think we actually do come across some semblance of what he smells like. And then Hermione finally says, I think I'm beginning to develop Stockholm syndrome. At least she's aware. And then Malfoy, this is what I was talking about. Her head is resting on his chest. He smelled like moss and cedar. Can we play back to the last? Play back. The spicy, earthy scent of oak moss, smoky undertones of cedar, and a bruised scent of oxidizing leaves and parchment. No, she sniffed it again. Papyrus. That's her Amortensia. That was before this whole situation. Unless the memories in her mind that she's now like uncovering have shifted and have changed. So now the Amortensia smells like something else. But then she wouldn't, I mean, the memory would be different, because then she would have been like, oh, it smells like Ross, like toothpaste and I don't know what else. So I don't know if that's like modifying her memory or if she actually smelled moss and whatever else it was. I swear there was something going on before. And I mean, maybe, no, you know what? No. I was like, okay, because it's obvious that Draco is like uncomfortable and like, and here we'll get to it eventually, like in this whole group section that I just read, but he calls her Granger instead of like Mudblood or something like that. But it's just something in the way that he acts and the way that he's taking care of her that I don't think he would be if it were anybody else. So in my head at least, and I feel like the way, if it were this way to like play out, that people would justify what is happening here. In my head, there's no way to justify what Draco's doing. But I guess if you say that they were in a relationship before and, you know, he's trying to act cold and distant to her because he's trying to protect her from Lord Voldemort, or maybe she could be used as leverage in case Voldemort ever wanted to be like vindictive towards Draco. You know what I mean? Like if Voldemort found out that they were, maybe that's what she's hiding. Maybe that's what she's hiding, actually. Like the fact that they were like maybe in a relationship, or maybe instead of Snape also like being like the spy, maybe Draco was the spy, and that's something that she has locked away. And since she doesn't remember, he's not acting on it because he has to act as if though she is the enemy. My
I feel like I've debunked something, but nothing is confirmed. This is all just going off of me and like my speculation and the fact that this Amortensia smelled like cedar and moss. I don't know, but that's just what I'm getting. I'm trying to get through this quickly because this video is already quite lengthy and I feel like by the end of this book it's gonna be 3 hours long and I just can't have that. When I was reading, I was like thinking about it. I'm like, you know, this whole process is to like make sure she like has a child. I'm like, no way they're gonna go there, right? Like, no way that she's going to have a child with her sequester, right? And then a few pages later, are we for real? You can't see me. Hello? I literally did not think that this was gonna happen. And then he goes, I'm sorry, Granger. Draco Malfoy would never apologize. Ever. For anything, I feel like. He would never apologize. There has to be something going on. There has to be something deeper with these two. Like, I refuse to believe that this is it. Like, what? Oh, and that's all I had to go over. Yeah, I stopped as soon as we got to the flashbacks. So that's all I have to say. Flashbacks have started. I've read nothing of the flashbacks. It says 3 years later, March 2002, nearly 6 years after the death of Albus Dumbledore. I guess we'll see what happens here. I don't know how long this section lasts. But we'll see. I'm gonna read right now. I'm gonna come back to you real time because I feel like I just want to talk to you as it happens. Like, so I'm gonna read. I was looking for new iPad cases because yesterday I was picking at this one and I realized actually that I've had this case since 2021, which is why it's so like dead. So I need a new one. Anyway, just an update. I'm gonna read and then I'll get back to you. This is something that I feel like, obviously Harry Potter were like children's books. They could never go this far with war. I mean, we never saw much of the war outside of like what was happening like Deathly Hallows like towards the end because, you know, they weren't directly involved in the war. They were like Harry, Hermione, and Ron. They were hunting Horcruxes, so we never saw, I feel like, the nitty-gritty. And when you read this, okay, Katie Bell, a Death Eater, had conjured a porcupine inside of her chest. This is graphic, okay? Be warned. The quills had shredded and mangled the girl's lungs and stomach, and only miraculously not stopped her heart. She had nearly drowned in blood before Hermione and Madame Pomfrey had managed to banish the creature and stabilize her. That's insane. Like, we're going through like everything. Like, Seamus is here now. He'd fallen into a pit of vipers and gotten bitten 36 times before he managed to apparate out. And we're trying to rationalize Draco? I can't do it. I can't do it. You can tell me all you want that Draco maybe had gone to... I'm going with my theory that they were together and that he was a spy and that he was doing all of this to get closer to Voldemort, but like, maybe just kill him if that's what you were there for. I'm judging my own theory. Like, I don't even know if this is true, but I'm like, that's my most rationalized theory I have right now. Like, I feel like a lot of people love this fanfic because it's like a good story, but also because of the relationship between Hermione and Draco. And it's a really good story right now, like, I'll give you that, but it cannot rationalize this relationship. I'm gonna keep reading. Oh, I was wrong. I swear I didn't read this before. Holy shit. Oh, sorry. Okay, Mad-Eye Moody's here. There's an opportunity. Both are aware, Hermione and Moody are aware that they're losing the war. And they have an opportunity for a new spy. Someone with a high rank in Voldemort's army and is willing to turn for us. Someone highly ranked wants to turn now, conditionally. The Malfoy boy says he'll turn spy to avenge his mother. That's where Narcissa is. That's right. Why? What happened to her? To avenge his mother. With the assurance of a full pardon, and he wants you now and after the... What the frick does that mean? Severus thinks he knows how to be a healer, because she taught him how to be a healer. That's how he's so good at it. Ooh, listen to me, listen to me. Oh, that is how you justify him. I still don't like it, I'm not gonna lie to you, but that's how you get some people on board. Yeah. He's telling her not to tell anyone. Not Potter, Weasley, or anyone else. Kingsley, Severus, Minerva, and I will be the only Order members aware of it. Could you imagine if Harry knew? Harry and Ron? I'm just thinking back to like 6th year Half-Blood Prince when Harry was like, guys, I swear Malfoy is a Death Eater, guys, I swear. And they were like, you're kind of crazy. There's no proof. And Harry was like, guys, that'd be so funny. He'd be like, no, immediately no. Spy. I just have to say, this is a very risky decision to allow someone that high up to be a spy for you when from 1st year to 6th year they've always had a strong affiliation. They were he was a child, so I wouldn't say that, but like, I mean, he's been in this war on their side for a long time and you're telling me now you want to switch? Like, I get your motives, but like, still, I'd be a little cautious. Crazy. Something had to have happened, so I'm thinking about this right now. Either he, like, I think we want to believe that he betrayed the Order and was working for Voldemort the whole time, but I don't think so. I think maybe he went in as a spy and then he fell in love with Hermione and then he tried to help them out, but eventually he knew they were gonna lose the war, so he did what he could, maybe, and when time came and he knew that the Resistance was gonna lose, he abandoned them. And he killed a lot of people from the Order, people that he knew, supposedly. We haven't got there. But, sorry, my case looks awful. But maybe that's what he did. Like, he was with the Order and then they weren't winning, so he was like, you know what, peace out. And he left, and then now here we are. And when he did that, he betrayed them and also gave a lot of valuable information to Voldemort, which is how he became a general. Right? There are my theories out there. What can I say? I love to theorize. Luna is gone. No. Luna. On one side, like, I'm kind of happy she's gone because, like, could you imagine her being in that program that Hermione's in with, like, everyone else? Luna. But we got some clarification onto how Narcissa died and Bellatrix and Luna. So we're kind of combining the events that happened in the manor at, I'm gonna refer to the movies, at the end of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and the, what's it called? The Room of Requirements scene-ish. That's kind of what I'm pulling from it. Basically, Hermione wasn't there. It was Ron, Harry. Ron hits Harry with the thing that disfigures his face. They fight it out. Tonks, Moody, and Charlie and Luna show up. No, Luna got word back to the Order, and she, Moody, Tonks, and Charlie showed up on the dragon that smashed through the window, and then Crabbe starts the Fiend Fire, and that kind of absorbs the entire mansion, and Luna dies through the Fiend Fire, and so does Bellatrix and Narcissa. I blame Crabbe because what? And he's right. Ron is right. He was always an idiot. Oh God, he's actually an idiot. They're talking about how they died. So Ron is saying, yeah, they probably could have apparated out of the manor if they'd realized in time, but Crabbe was standing right behind them when he cast the spell. It hit them first, which is probably why he lost control. Draco killed him, didn't he? Or he died there? Crabbe died in the Room of Requirements, so I assume? Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. Sorry, I was just wondering what chapter I was on. And there are 38 flashbacks consecutively. We're living in flashbacks now. I thought we were gonna, I for some reason thought there were only like 3 flashbacks and then we were gonna go back to some later. But we're living in flashbacks right now. I don't know if I should have known that. Probably not. But I mean, this is now something I know, that there are 38 flashbacks. I'm on page 228. And flashbacks last until page 602. I think I got like really accustomed to where we were in the manor, and I was really interested to see where that was gonna go. Where did we leave off at the manor? That's what I'm wondering. We're going to flashback 3, and you know, they're kind of talking through like what's gonna happen with like Draco, and if this is even something she should be doing. We haven't met up with him yet. I feel like I might stop here. I'll read a little bit and then I'll stop for the day. Snape is saying Hermione's dense, but I fear I am, because when Draco asked for Hermione, I thought that he wanted to talk with her. That is not what everyone seems to be insinuating. And I gathered that with McGonagall, but I was like, is that what he meant? And Snape is taking it that way too. So I feel like that's what he meant, and that's what she's down with doing for the cause. I, however, did not realize I am dense. He didn't call her dense. By holding his interest, Snape said, rolling his eyes as though she were dense. That is what he's doing to me right now. Because I did not. Anyway, I kept reading, sorry. I got interested in it. I have to stop. I'm gonna keep reading. So they're talking. But why did he ask for her in the first place? Because right now they haven't seen each other in 6 years. So why? It's not like in the current timeline where they have this backstory you don't know about and now we're learning about it. But now they haven't seen each other since they were in school. So why is he asking for her specifically? Yeah, he could have a crush on her, whatever. He treated her pretty badly at Hogwarts, but putting that aside, I guess, for now, why would he ask for her? That's what I want to know. I want to know a lot of things. I'm going to keep reading. Maybe we'll find out soon. I have 2 pages left in the chapter. I'm going to read 4 more pages and then we're done. Hello. It's been, when was the last time I talked to you? I don't remember, but it's been a few days. Maybe like 2 days? 3 days maybe? The book made me cry for the first time last night. And we'll get there. Let's go chronologically. No, I won't. I'm gonna tell you right now. It was because of it was because of Hermione and Harry's conversation after Ginny got attacked. After that, when he went to apologize. That's what made me cry. We'll get into it later. But I wanted to catch you up on where I am. I'm on flashback 19. So the first thing I have highlighted is in flashback 8, when we get told that Voldemort had strung together and hung the bones of Lily and James Potter. That was crazy to me. Hung the bones from a gallows for the Order to find when they arrived. I just had to put that in here because that is absolutely crazy. Then, okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I talked to you because I've already dealt with this whole thing. But there's something going on with Draco's back. We now know what it is. The Cruciatus Curse is such an excellent punishment for failure, but overusing it risks compromising the mind. Sometimes a different permanent reminder is deemed additionally necessary. And then Hermione had to pull the excess dark magic out of his back. Magic like that is why the Dark Lord looks the way he does, and the quantity of runes you'll have a few years at most, either your mind or your body. Dark magic exacts a price. I can't tell if this is gonna come in after. This happened on page 286, so it's ways away from where I am, but I might tie this into what I know already. But it's going to heal these runes, and she's trying, but she's not really succeeding. So this is one that I still have an unanswered question about, but her necklace. She lowers it into the left side of his chest against his skin. She watched it slowly sink into his skin and fade away. What is it? And before, a few chapters ago, she mentioned that if she had died, that her necklace would remain and Severus would know what to do with it. But I'm still wondering what this necklace is and what it's doing for Draco. And I have a feeling, because a few chapters ago, Hermione was wondering, like in current timeline, she was wondering why Draco didn't have any long-term effects of using unforgivable spells. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it's always like healing him in some way. I don't have an answer to that at the moment, but that's what I'm wondering about. That's my current question that I have going on, because I don't think I'm really questioning anything else. So that's my main question. Also, I'm wearing my Diagon Alley shirt. I think it's the first time I've worn it since I started this video. But yeah, I'm using this to manifest nicer times. And then I find out that Hagrid died.
it's just thing after thing with this book. And then we start to talk about Colin with Draco, Colin Creevy, and the fact that Draco was sent to track him down and that he actually killed Colin's brother, and that Colin could have survived if he hadn't gone back for his brother's body and tried to drag him back. He killed the parents, or I don't know who killed the parents, but that is something, and I'm gonna get back to that really quick. Then she goes on to say, I hate you. I don't require you to do anything more to convince me. I hate you more than anyone else aside from your master. I hold you partially responsible for every person who has died so far in this war, and every person who will die. You don't need to convince me that you're a monster. I already know it. And again, I'm using this again to say, she's gonna fall in love with him. And I'm starting to get why that's starting to happen. Where I am right now in this book is that she's kind of seeing him in a different light. We know how I feel about that. But I get it. They're both lonely. Hermione's alone. She has no one. And like she said at one point in this book, Malfoy is the only one who treats her how she was treated before the war. Her relationships with Harry and Ron have changed with everyone in the Order because she's pushing for dark magic defensively, and it's pushing her away from everyone. And I get why she feels a pull from Draco, because he's not treating her any different, which at the same time it's like he's not treating her great either, but that's how he treated her before the war. But I mean, I guess I get it. I'm not gonna say I'm on board with it because of who he is, but I understand. And then listen, she tries to rationalize Draco's actions. He could have killed Dennis Creevy in an innumerable number of crueler, slower ways than the killing curse. With a broken leg, Dennis was no flight risk. He would have been the perfect lure to draw Colin back, but rather than just stand there over an injured Dennis and catch both boys, Draco had killed him. Humanely, possibly in hope that the dead brother would drive Colin off to spare his life. Hermione felt ready to fall over at the dual realization that struck her. Malfoy had been trying to spare Colin. Does that still take away from the fact that he killed Dennis? Now you're gonna say, Nicole, he had to kill Dennis. Like, it's what he needed to do. Like, his Death Eater pals were like, why didn't you do that? It's like seen as a betrayal, like you're a sympathizer to the Order, and then killed him, which maybe, but still, you're trying to justify this by, like, condemning someone's life to spare another. But he also, I don't know. You could have aimed differently. You could have stunned your Death Eater friends in the back, and then they could have gotten away. You know what I'm saying? I'm just having a hard time to see him the way that she sees him. Malfoy considered himself a villain because of what he did, which implied that he didn't want to do it, which implied that his desire to aid the Order might be sincere, not merely a means to some other end. And now I'm getting kind of hit with the fact over and over again that Hermione doesn't think that Ron and Harry are going to be able to forgive her for what she's doing with Draco, because we also find out that Lucius hit Arthur with a spell that gave him the mental capacity of a toddler. And apparently the Malfoys, so Draco and Lucius, are the only exception to the kind of like death curse, or I mean dark arts restraint for Ron. Like, Ron, when this war is over, no matter what, wants to kill Lucius and Draco. George lost a leg. Ginny's now been hit in the face with a necrosis curse or something. And Arthur has, has been cursed as well. Like, and now with the way that I've seen that Harry treats Hermione, I'd have to agree with her that it would be very hard to forgive her from their point of view. But at the same time, she is getting a lot of intel, so I don't know, pick your battles. So we're finally at the part that I was talking about that got me crying last night. It's the fact that, Ginny was hit with the necrosis. I hope that is true, what I'm saying. Necrosis? Necrosis? We're gonna assume that's right. She was hit in the face, and basically Ron has to, very gory stuff, but he has to do something in order to, like, help her out. And then this is how she finds out that the blade that he used, since it is goblin metal, absorbed the necrosis, like whatever, I'm gonna call it venom, but it's like the illness into the blade. So we now know what we knew in Deathly Hallows, that goblin metal can absorb properties that make it more powerful. So now we know that the Gryffindor sword can be used to kill Horcruxes. When she figures all this out, they have an order meeting like 5 seconds after Ginny's like, okay, and Hermione decides to bring it up. And it's very important information, but Harry takes it out on her hard and was like, why did you do that? Like, you didn't even care about saving Ginny or how Ron was feeling. Like, all you cared about was how this could aid the order in the fights. And I was like, Harry, this is really important. Like, Harry is getting on my nerves. She just wanted to share what she had because nobody had anything. Harry, Ron, Ginny had no information on Horcruxes, and they were like, does anyone have any other intel? Nobody had anything. This meeting was for no reason whatsoever. Which, again, Moody, what the hell? Like, why are you doing this 5 seconds after Ginny was attacked? But whatever. But Hermione had something to share. She shared it. And Harry's coming down so hard on her. And then Ginny's like, okay, she's fine. And then Ginny sends Harry to go apologize to Hermione. And this is kind of where I want to get into the writing. Because this making me cry is because I know, like, the 7 books that I've read of Harry Potter, I know the relationship that Harry, Ron, and Hermione have, and how good of friends they were, and how close they were, that now seeing them apart hurts. Let me read you what he said. He basically apologizes. And Hermione says, it was an apology for insulting and downing her as a healer. It wasn't an apology to her. He studied her face for several seconds. You're one of my best friends, he added. Hermione felt something inside her fade away, as though she carried a flame in her heart and it had abruptly guttered and left her in darkness. The words were a second thought, something to say because he'd said it before, because it was a thing he was supposed to say to her. She felt her jaw tremble. She stared at him. Something showed on her face because Harry abrupted and stepped forward and hugged her tightly. She clung to him for a minute. Sorry, I'm really sorry, he spoke into the side of her head. Sorry, I'm really sorry. She tried to collect herself and she had no time or capacity for emotions right then. I'm just tired. It was right for you to look out for Ron. You were right. I wasn't thinking about him when I brought it up. She pushed herself out of Harry's arms. You're a good friend to him. Harry stared at her carefully. Am I a good friend to you? Hermione met his eyes. The best, she said in a steady voice. Always my best friend. That is what made me cry. So let me get into this. Writing in this book is really good. It is really good. When you think of fan fiction, you think of a very specific type of writing. And it's not what this is at all. Like, this is written very well. It has like multiple plot lines and multiple things that tie together very well. With that being said, this is being turned into an actual book. Here is the thought that I'm having. I feel like this works on a lot of levels, especially with the relationships, because of what we know because of the series of books. Like, this specific moment had an emotional impact because I know the relationship between Harry and Hermione. That being said, imagine someone picking this book off the shelf for the first time and not knowing anything about this universe. This is a, whichever way you want to look at it, 800 or 1000 page book. And without having the background knowledge into this world, into these relationships, it's going to be, I feel like, a little bit harder to get emotionally involved into this book. Like, we have a lot of background information because of what we know, like the movies or the books that we've read or watched. Like, we know these relationships very well, and that's why it hits so hard. I don't have any issue knowing that the author is going to do a really good job with adapting this into like a published work, but I feel like that some of the special things that this has going for it is that we know so much about these characters, which is why we're so connected to it. Does that make sense? Like, this is already a very long book, and I can't imagine what is going to be either cut out or what is going to make this book even longer to have the same impact that it's having on us right now. You could tell me that Harry, Ron, and Hermione, or whatever they're going to be called in this new book, were really close friends. But I don't think we're going to have enough time to explore their relationship deeply enough to truly get the hurt that Hermione's feeling in these flashbacks. I'm just worried about how these relationships are going to transfer what we already feel about these characters. It's gonna be really hard to transfer like 7 books and 8 movies worth of feelings into one book if this is only gonna be one book. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? It's just, we have a lot of lore and we have a lot of feelings for these characters that we know really well, that I feel like transferring them into a new book kind of creating a new world, because I assume that a lot has to be changed for this to be traditionally published in order to have no ties to the Harry Potter franchise at all. I'm just wondering how that's going to be approached, if that makes sense. And then she gets bitten by a vampire, which I was like, how do vampires work in this world? Because I thought when you were bitten, you turned into a vampire. And I'm trying to remember if vampires were mentioned in the series, and I feel like they were, but not very much because we never see any. Yeah, we're up to date now. Okay, that's all I have to say for right now. I'm gonna read a little bit. I feel like I don't have a lot. Well, maybe I do. I don't know how long this is. I was like, I feel like I don't have a lot to say. Well, it's been a few days since I talked to you, so there's nothing that I desperately have to tell you in the moment, but these are things that I wanted to cover, and I'll come back to you with anything new. I'm gonna read right now. I'm gonna keep my little setup here just in case I want to talk to you immediately. It took me, I feel like it took me a little bit to get adjusted to this new like flashback thing that we have going on right now, but I'm still interested in everything that happened. I feel like I want to finish up the flashback sections just because I want to find out how we got to where we are, how everything transpired. And I really want to know how this is gonna end, because I don't know how this is gonna end. I'll see you soon, and I'm gonna keep reading. What's up? I laid down since you last saw me. Anyway, it's Christmas. Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas, who knows? And Hermione just had that conversation with Angelina, and she was like, but we're winning the war. But like, obviously, in Angelina's case, it's okay to be optimistic because, you know, they've had this like good stride of things, like they raided a prison and they've had a lot of successful missions, but she just doesn't know the extent that the Order is going to get this information in the first place. Like with, first of all, they don't know that they're torturing people, like Death Eaters, to get this information, or that, Fleur Delacour's sister is using other means to get this information as well, and that Hermione is doing this stuff with Draco in the first place. So obviously it looks like they're just using light and love to get the results that they need. Like, it all works out in the end, but it's not. And that reminded me of, in the beginning of the book in the first place, someone, I think it was Hannah, I don't know, I don't think it was Angelina, who said to Hermione, you were right. Yeah, because everyone and their mother was saying, no, Hermione, we can't do this, like, this isn't the way to win the war. And like Angelina said, like, oh, like, if we lose the war, we just die. And Hermione's like, no, they torture us, they do things to us, they experiment and they do stuff, and it's just not dying, it's like suffering as well. Like, it's not a clean break if we lose this war. And you're also like damning the whole country as well, like the entirety of Europe. I don't know. This, oh god. And the way that also this book is approaching like the war, also the political climate and the relationships, I feel like is really good. Like, I would not put this on the same level of any other fanfic. Like, calling it a fanfiction just implies a certain connotation that I don't feel is correct. So who knows? But anyway, that's my update. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. Bye. I need to go to bed, but I'm 53% of the way through. We just learned a lot about Draco. A lot. So I was thinking, what if Draco was the one who destroyed the Horcrux? But it's impossible, because if I remember, Hermione saw Draco looking at her necklace. But he could have done it, right? Because we never saw who did it. But I don't remember. It couldn't have been him, right? But there's no person left over in the Order that I can think of that could have attacked Umbridge, who knew about the Horcruxes too, by the way, because it was very, wasn't it like semi-classified on a need-to-know basis? Like, not everybody could know about this. I'm pretty sure we went over that. And everyone who needed to know, who was on the need-to-know basis, is dead. So in my head, Malfoy? And the reason why he can't find him is because it's him, because he's not really looking. Like, he's pretending to look, but there are no leads because he didn't. But I feel like in one way or the other, like, when Voldemort goes into Draco's mind, he'd be looking for like something like that. I don't know what he's looking for in there, but I mean, he goes in there quite often, doesn't he? I don't know who else it could be. But I'm really tired. Did I tell you? I'm 53% of the way through. I'm not dropping this book now because I'm actually very invested in what's happening and how this is gonna end. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye. Hey, what's up? I've been it's like, what time is it? It's 4 o'clock. It's 4:30. I've been reading today on my phone. on my phone, I'm on page like 1000 something, so that makes me feel really accomplished, and I only have like 800 pages to like finish the book. Only 800 pages, but it makes me feel really accomplished. Here I'm on page 465, and I just, like, I left off like right at flashback 27, so I kind of wanted to talk to you about things that I've read today. And yeah, Ron has been kidnapped, and I'm kind of trying to decide if he's gonna die here, but I don't think so. But I also think, you remember how in like a few updates ago I said that Voldemort said that Hermione was like really dangerous because she raided a prison and she burned a bunch of Dementors, something like that. I think that might happen here because it's a prison raid with Harry, so Harry's going like against the orders to go find Ron, and I think this is when it happens. But I'm like, does he die? I think he's gonna get saved and then he's gonna die again. The question is, does he die before or after Harry? Also, the whole snafu happened with Christmas time. Did I tell you about that? Like, I understand where Hermione's coming from, but I feel like Harry is so intent on things working out his way, which he deems as like the only good way is not using dark magic. But I mean, when you're looking at it from his perspective, yeah, they've had a lot of victories lately, but at the same time you're losing a lot of people, and it's just not feasible to win this way. I think he just has a lot of faith in what he's doing and winning the right way, that he's not even taking Hermione's opinion into consideration. Okay, yeah, so this morning I read the stuff about the unbreakable vow, and he promised to aid the Order, you know this, in defeating Lord Voldemort, and that he would never become Voldemort's successor. That cleans that out, which just leads me to believe more in the theory that he's the one who destroyed Umbridge's Horcrux. Because who else could it be, realistically? So in flashback 25, we find out that there had been a Death Eater attack, and in order to get out, Kingsley and a few other members of the Order had to use dark magic to get out, to survive. It had resulted in an explosive argument between Harry and Kingsley afterward. The whole house was on edge. If you have to use it, you have to use it. Like, I'm sure they didn't kill anyone. They could have used, like, dark magic. Still, Harry doesn't like it. I feel like I've already said my opinion about this. Okay, the last thing I highlighted, because it made me happy, was that Dobby was alive. So, Jenny's pregnant, which makes me wonder if she was pregnant when she died, because we know that she dies, we just don't know the timeline of things. So she's pregnant, maybe she lost it somehow, maybe like under stress or something, but I'm wondering if that baby's like out there, if Ginny gave birth, or if they killed her and her baby. It just makes me happy that Dobby's alive, and that I hope he hides and he survives this, because Dobby's death always gets me, no matter what. But yeah, right now they're going into Hogwarts to try to get Ron back, but the information that Harry got from the Snatcher seems like a setup to Hermione. I'm with her, like, Harry's just not gonna listen to any reason right now, but we'll see what happens. I don't know how long the Order can go on fighting with Harry gone. That's the question. Realistically, does Harry have to be the one to kill Voldemort? I know he has to die to kill that part of his soul, but once all of the Horcruxes are destroyed, they can kill Voldemort, which is what he told Neville, I feel like, in the Deathly Hallows. He told him to kill the snake, and then they would be able to kill him. So I feel like Harry just, he eventually has to die. Where's the Resurrection Stone? Did he get the snitch? Why did I do this? Did he get the snitch? Anyway, that's where I am. We'll see how this goes. Knowing that everyone is dead just doesn't give me a lot of hope, and I don't know how to predict things, because either way, everyone's gonna die. So I think that they're gonna get Ron out. Maybe Harry will be captured and he dies, or maybe Ron is just not gonna be able to be healed, so they have to leave him behind, which would turn Harry more against Hermione because she wasn't able to do it. I'll update you later. I have things to do today anyway, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep reading on my phone. We'll see what happens, and I'll update you later. I'm making progress. I'll see you later. One major update. I got my new case. Also, I think it was meant for like a newer iPad, but it's fine. At least it works. But I wanted to update you on what I read today. It is 1:38 a.m. I might read a little bit more, but I'm not sure. I feel like I made a dent in this today. I don't know where we started off, but I'll tell you what happened. Ron got bit by a werewolf one night before the full moon. And at first I was like, I was kind of confused as to what the rules are for werewolf bites. Like, do they have to be transformed under the full moon in order for that bite to process, or can they be in a human form and that impact you? Does that make sense? Anyway, that's what I was wondering. But apparently Ron is gonna be a werewolf. And then, okay, Harry is getting on my nerves. He's getting on my nerves. I can't, like, so done with Harry. I'm so done. So basically Hermione is explaining to Ron that he's gonna have to be very careful tomorrow under the full moon because we don't know how it's gonna change him. Hermione was like, you could accidentally kill someone. And Harry was like, he won't. And Hermione was like, it's not going to be his fault if he does, but if we decide to be careless, he could hurt someone. Ron is potentially dangerous and we need to be prepared for that. And then Harry goes, well, maybe you should have gotten him out like we planned. And then Hermione goes, I did everything I could to protect Ron. And then Harry goes, yeah, I saw your idea of protecting him. What was that curse you used? It's one of the few spells that can kill a werewolf fast enough to stop them, aside from an unforgivable. It was dark. Probably one of the darkest spells I've ever seen. I thought Ron was worth it. We could have brought it down with stunners. Really, you were willing to bet Ron's life on that after all the risk to save him? I knew the consequences, I accepted them, and I used it. And then he goes, blah, 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 like, you're tearing apart your soul, la, 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 la. After this whole spiel that he goes on, she goes, I don't care. I want to win. I don't care what my soul ends up looking like. Then she scoffed. You were more willing to risk my life. I don't see how my soul is somehow more important. Well, if that's how little you believe in us, then you aren't someone whose help I need. Trust me, I won't ever ask again. Harry! Oh god. Is Ron a werewolf though? He's like on the verge of kind of being one, I guess. I don't know how that works, but yeah, that's where I am and that's it. I mean, I told you what I read earlier and I might read a little bit more right now and we'll see how we're doing. I made it to flashback 29 and I am 60% of the way through, which I do think I'm gonna get to the 75% by tomorrow, which is Sunday, which is what I wanted to do by the end of the weekend. But yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit more. I'll update you on it tomorrow. And unless I have something incredibly important to say, that'll be it for today. So I'll see you later. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Okay, hey. I stopped reading last night because I got to like one page into flashback 36, which is the last flashback. And I just wanted to give you all of my thoughts before I go forward and finish this flashback situation and go into the rest of the story. They're about to attack Hogwarts and this means, that was so hard. This means that since Harry and Ron didn't die before this, so they're going into this thinking that they have a possibility of winning. Especially Harry, we haven't even gotten to the part yet. Harry goes to Hermione. He was like, I have a feeling I'm gonna die today, something in that vein. And I was like, Harry, you are gonna die today. I'm 70% of the way through, which meant that on Sunday, I actually barely read anything. I'm taking us back to flashback 29, kind of get an idea of what that stone does to Draco. Basically, it is making him immune to corrosion and tainting, which is why when she says that he should be like looking a certain way, like in the future, that's why he's not, because the stone is actively protecting him against everything that the dark magic is supposed to be doing to him. Question answered. We're getting a lot of information about magic and spells, and this is, I feel like it's going much deeper into like potions and what the spells that people are doing and how they're created, and it's giving a lot of thought into expanding the world that was already there, which again kind of like pushes me in the direction of saying, how is this going to be adapted into the new book, and how is this going to be switched up to separate these two entities, I guess, like the Harry Potter universe and the Manacled universe. Like, you know, IP is the thing, like these can't be connected at all, and I'm just kind of wondering how that's going to be adapted and how long again this book is going to be, or if it's going to be a series. Maybe that's somewhere this is going to have to go. They get Ron back from where he was kidnapped, and he comes back with a shackle, which is the first instance that we're seeing the manacles kind of being developed. Something I thought was like, there was mentioned the black cat flu, and I was like, what is that? Apparently it's a disease that caused chronic bad luck. That's kind of clever. It's kind of clever. Then we get like deeper insight into what it looks like from Hermione's perspective, getting all these patients in. She's pulling scorpions, vipers, and even a lobster out of stomachs and chests. I was like, what? I didn't even know if people are surviving. Shacklebolt died. Draco killed him in front of Harry. Not good, but he was already cursed. I feel like he was gonna die anyway, and Draco kind of like took that opportunity to kind of show the other Death Eaters that he was in fact like loyal, because there's rumblings of a spy going on within, I was gonna say the Order, but it's the Death Eater army or whatever you want to call them. So he's like, look, it's not me, I killed Kingsley. Like, would I do that if I was really a spy? Just in case anyone's on his trail, at least now they know. They can be like, no, like he killed Kingsley. Did I tell you that Ginny's pregnant? I think I did. She's calling him James. As of right now, she's still pregnant. The war is about to end, I feel like, in this final battle that we have in this one more flashback, and Ginny's gonna die, so she's never gonna give birth to this baby. From what I'm understanding, that baby's not making it, and Ginny isn't making it either. Okay, I read this last night. No, did I? Yeah. This was when I was about to stop reading, and it said it's set to activate exactly on noon July 1st. Guess what today's date is? I'll give you one guess. You're right, it's July 1st. I was like, oh my god. When worlds collide. Also, Lavender died, and apparently Lavender and Ron were having like a serious relationship, and when Ron found out, he killed a Death Eater, and since Harry was trying to stop him, he broke his arm. Guess who's using dark magic now? And now Harry's like, I'm gonna kill him. Like Voldemort. I'm going to try to kill him. I haven't told anyone yet, but I keep thinking about the prophecy. If it's real, I have to kill him. I don't think I can fight this war again. Harry. And then he says, I'm sorry it took me so long to believe you. I wanted you to be wrong about it all. I didn't realize how angry I was at you just because I wanted you to be wrong. I don't have time to make it up to you. And then I think he dies. I haven't gotten to it, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna die. Like, he will die, but I think this is the last conversation that they're gonna have together. The part that hits me most about this story is not Draco and Hermione. It's nothing about that relationship whatsoever. It is about the relationship between Harry and Hermione. That's what hits me the most. I feel like people go into this thinking, oh, like Draco and Hermione, but I'm like, no, Harry and Hermione. Look at this friendship, what it once was and what it's now, and what it is now. Like, it's so different. They're two different relationships, and like that is just like so much bigger than what's going on between Draco and Hermione's relationship. So I'm gonna read this final chapter. 10 pages left. I'll reconvene. I'll see if I have anything to talk about, but I'm actually so interested in getting back to our actual timeline and finding out what's going on there and how this is gonna end. Hermione is like talking about like, after the war, are we gonna be able to be together or not, or blah blah blah, whatever, who knows. But I'm like, no, I feel like most people think that after everything they've been through, like Draco and Hermione, like they should get their happy ending. But I'm like, listen, I have nothing against happy endings. I'm into like interesting endings. Even though it'd be tragic to have one of them die and not be together at the end, I'm like, kind of the result of war, which Hermione has seen a lot of. Maybe that would drive her over the edge though. I don't know who should die or how it should end. I feel like in this case, like after reading chapter after chapter of everything being so dim, like Voldemort has to lose. So I'm like, okay, who's gonna go down with him? Draco or Hermione? Or are they gonna live happily ever after? I don't know. I'll let you know. I'll come back to you later. Hey, I read a little bit. I just wanted to catch you up on what I've been reading. We're still in the same chapter. I haven't read much, as I said. So Hermione discovers that Harry has a piece of Voldemort inside of him, and she goes to Hogwarts to ask to see Harry so she can run a diagnostic, see what's happening, see if she can take it out or do something to get rid of it. And then he was like, nope, we don't have time. we should just go in. I'm going to confront Voldemort. He's gonna kill me, which, by the way, I get that they don't know the whole situation, but I have a few thoughts about that. But what he says to her, he's telling Hermione, you're such a good friend, you've always believed in me even more than I did myself. And Hermione wants to send word to Moody to kind of take everyone out of Hogwarts and retreat. And he said no, like he's gonna do it anyway. But then what she says, she was like, I'll find a way. I will invent it if I have to. You have to let me try. Which is so heartbreaking. Like, she knows it's not possible because she tried it with, like, trying to get, like, restore Arthur's mental state, and she couldn't because the dark magic reached his brain, and Harry's saying that Voldemort's in his head, so that's not possible. But she was like, I'll create a way if I need to. Like, I want to save you. And it's just tragic, okay? So obviously Draco was there at Hogwarts. He basically takes Hermione away, and when she wakes up, the war is lost. Harry's dead. It didn't work because there's one Horcrux left, which I think is the Horcrux around Dolores's neck, the pendant. What are we calling that? It's just a necklace. Also, at the beginning of this chapter, which was the last one of the flashbacks, it was recommended to, more than anything, go back and reread apparently the 25 chapters that came before this, which I'm like, I'm not reading 200 pages over again. Sorry, but no. Maybe on a reread, but no. And that's kind of gotten me to like the order this should be read in. There's a file or a Google Doc or whatever that has basically a summary of the first 25 chapters. I'll probably read that. I feel like I remember a lot of things, mostly because I've been talking to you about it. But I guess before we move on to the current timeline, that we'll go back and read the summary, which I think that's something I'm going to talk about when I figure out a rating for this because of the order in which to read this, you know? I don't know. I'm going to finish this chapter, then I guess I'll read the summary, and then I'll come back to you once that is done. So probably tomorrow. It's been 5 seconds since I've seen you, but I guess they're going back for Ginny. I think that's how this ends. No! Dobby, no. In every timeline, bro. Dobby. I love Dobby so much. An unnecessary casualty, might I add. Oh my god. Is he gonna kill Ginny? He agreed to get her for Hermione. We know that she doesn't make it out. Why does my hair look weird? Is he gonna kill her? There's no way to get her out. How is he gonna do it? This is so stressful. This is so stressful. He didn't kill her. Sorry. My bad. I assume the worst, okay? He blew his cover. Which doesn't track, you know? There wasn't any other way. I'm like I have to go back and read this fully, but I'm reading the dialogue. I told you there was an extensive counter espionage measure in place. There are records that I was there, that I entered the labs with highly controlled access. This was not good. I could hardly burn down the building and fight my way out carrying an unconscious and pregnant witch. That's highly suspicious. They're gonna think that maybe he was working for the Order and he knocked her up or something. I'm gonna go back and read. I wonder what's gonna happen. Everything's fine. Everything's peachy. What is going to happen? I have 3 pages left. What is going to happen in these 3 pages that is gonna get us to where we are? She's telling Snape that he has to be the one to find and destroy the Horcrux. And I forgot, I was kind of doubting where his loyalties lied before, like in the chapters before the flashback. But now, I'm pretty sure Draco was looking at Umbridge before, you know, they attacked her. And if it wasn't Draco, it had to have been Snape. So Snape is still on our side. The question is, and I can't remember, which is probably why I have to read the summary, is if the Horcrux was destroyed. I know Umbridge is dead, but was it because... I can't remember. Wasn't it with an arrow? I need to reread the summary. Damn. Okay. Draco wants an unbreakable vow. Snape goes, you are both fools. Okay, so what was Hermione saying, like, just as those chapters ended and it went to the first flashback, that she was looking for something? Or that she needed to do something? Like, what was that? Unless we're gonna find out at the end of this chapter, but I I don't think we read anything that would even fall into that range of things. Wait a minute. Wait. Is this an act? I never imagined Draco would be so easily fooled. He'd always wanted to get me away from the war more than anything else. I told you before, my life is important to him, and in spite of himself, he doesn't want me to hate him. No, but we've seen inside her head that she actually cares about him. Are you going to tell me what you're planning? Off to kill the Dark Lord yourself? I'm going to blow up Sussex. Oh, you intend to kill everyone in that building to save Draco. That was gonna make an interesting twist. Listen, okay? That would be a huge plot twist if she was like, no, I don't actually care about him. Call me crazy. Oh god, that would have been interesting, okay? I need Draco to live. That's how she's gonna get caught, isn't it? I feel like I've turned into an iPad kid. Like, this is me. Are we not even gonna see her blow it up? And what about the Dementors? Dementor. Am I dumb? Wait, there's another flashback? I thought this was the last one. We have one more flashback left. Her Dementors filling the sky and closing in on her. She gripped her wand and tried to stand. She couldn't cast a Patronus. She had to run. Oh. That's what we're using as a Patronus. I don't know. Okay, listen. I don't know if I think it's just me, but something about this relationship between Draco and Hermione I'm just not feeling 100%. Like, I get why they're together. I get why they feel the way that they do, but there's something about it that I'm not buying. And for her to cast a Patronus with it, to each their own. But I don't know. Antipodine opali. I didn't say that right. Antipodian opali. It opened its mouth and white flames poured from it. That's the picture. That's a huge Patronus. From a memory with Draco. A vampire bit her. Again, so many questions about vampires. Everything's attacking her right now. She's using the spell that Draco used. She paused until they were close and slammed her wand into the ground, liquefying the earth around herself and watching as the hags and vampires and werewolves were swallowed by it. Someone struck her from behind. What's his face? What's his name? The guy that I trusted and then didn't trust, and then he was like the most awful person ever. Muldoon? That's not right. I'm thinking about Jurassic Park. Hello? You know what I mean. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That mustache man that I impersonated earlier. Oh, you don't remember me? In the beginning, a few months ago. For me, it was a few months ago. For you, it was like 40 minutes ago. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The one who... I'm scared. Her wand is wrenched away. Who is it? Montauk! That's his freaking name! That's his name! When I catch you, Ricky! The way I knew this was gonna happen. Oh my god. Today is my day. Should I put on the mustache again? How did I do his accent? Today is my day. I'll say it. It feels like only yesterday I saw you. I didn't expect to find you this quick. Is that the way I did it? I can't remember. Or did he have an accent? I didn't expect to find you this quick. Manage this all by yourself. I bet I'll get my mark for bagging you. I don't know why he turned a weird accent. She gripped her wand in both hands and snapped it in half. She stared in horror. That's what I just did. Without a wand, she couldn't apparate. Ow. You know that theory about wandless magic? Have you heard about that? Couldn't Dumbledore do wandless magic? And I heard a theory, okay? That the reason why there are wands in the first place is because they wanted a way to like be able to throw people in Azkaban and take away their wands and take away their ability to practice magic. When I'm pretty sure Dumbledore is fully capable of doing wandless magic, and if they had practiced it before, like in Hogwarts, taught it as a class maybe, then these wizards could do wandless magic. Does that make sense to you? Like, if Dumbledore can do it, it can be taught, you know? Like, he's like a really great wizard, but at the same time, like, it'd be smart for the ministry to be like, oh yeah, like everybody needs a wand because that's how they control their magic. And then when they do something bad, they get put in Azkaban, their wands get taken away, and they have less ability to do magic. And if you remember, it's not necessary to have a wand at all times because Harry was doing magic before he went to Hogwarts. Like, unknowingly, he was performing magic. Ron made it snow without his wand. He was just feeling whatever his feelings were, I think it was in Half-Blood Prince, and he made it snow.
Oh, I don't need to read this. I don't need to read this. Oh my god. Molly. Molly and Arthur. No, no, I don't need to read this. I really don't need to read this. I really don't need to read this. I really don't. Really. Molly. No. George? Oh my god. They dismembered him. And if you remember, in the Order of the Phoenix, she said that her Bogart was seeing her entire family dead. Like, this is her worst nightmare. Lucius is here. Don't tell me it's wrong. Do not tell me it's wrong. Do not tell me it's wrong. But I saved the best for you, Potter's best friend. The one who was always with him. I made sure no one killed him. Lucius killed every member of... No, not every member. He did a lot of stuff that Ron wanted to kill him. I can't remember. Well, he did that stuff to Arthur. And then probably did something for... Was it George's leg? I think it was George's leg. It's fitting, I think, that you know the pain she did. Narcissa. This is for my wife. The dark green curse flew up and struck Ron on his foot. She knew the curse. It turned blood into molten lead inside of the body. It was a slow curse. Dolores has entered the building. I believe I recognize that dreadful little face. That's when she tortures her for like 6 months. Okay. I finished the flashback. We're up to date, and I'm trying... It was months ago when I first started this, actually. It was in October. We're in July. It's July 1st. Yeah, technically it's July 2nd now. But it's been a while, so I feel like I should be rereading a little bit of that, especially in the beginning. I might go back and maybe reread the first chapter because I want to know the continuation from what we just read, what we just ended on, and how the story begins. And then I might read the first chapter or two and then move into the summary. And then once I finish the summary, I'm gonna come back and I'll let you know if I forgot anything, but I think that's my plan for right now. And I'm gonna do. I wasn't aware that I needed a refresher. And I probably do. It's been a while. Okay. I'll see you probably tomorrow. Okay, bye. This is so funny because I don't think I read this first part when I started the story, or maybe I didn't, I don't remember. But apparently the story diverges from canon following the conclusion of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Yeah. Which I think was an ongoing question I had, or I was comparing things to. Why am I so blurry? But that's a clarification. I think I forgot. Maybe I didn't read it. I don't know. Who knows at this point? It's been so long. It's getting late. I don't know if I should read or not. I'll get started on it. Maybe then I'll go to sleep. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Okay, theory time. Guess what? I'm reading the summary. You know what? So I'm on page 12 of the summary. And are you ready for this? It says, "It's a pity you didn't bring the Weasley girl back alive," Hermione heard Voldemort say. "I'm sorry, my lord. I'm sorry, my lord." I had no idea of her significance. As I recall, she was nearly dead when I found her. It explains the Mudbloods' attack in Sussex. My theory is that he told Voldemort that he killed her. Honestly, no body, no proof. I think she's alive. Which would mean that Harry's baby's alive. Which is what we're gonna see at the end of the book, maybe? Or do you think Draco's gonna die? I think Draco's gonna die, and then Hermione's gonna live. And then she's gonna find Ginny and James. And it's been how long since the war? I think it said, what, 16 months? I'm gonna say 2 years since the war ended. No, that's not right. It has to have been 16 months because she was captured and put into that cell for 16 months. So it's been 16 months is my deduction. I think she's alive. Do I kind of want one of them to die? Is it bad if I say yes? I don't know. I feel like it would be an interesting story if one of them died. Hey, what's up? It's the 4th of July. I'm here. I might get in the pool later. That's kind of the vibe for today, but I'm hoping to finish up Manacled today. I read some last night, and I think I just got 1 chapter in before I fell asleep. But guess what? As I predicted, along with Severus, Draco was the one who aimed for the locket at Umbridge and ended up killing her. That was her. He is with the Order, still to this day. What is left of it, I guess. I mean, just Snape and Draco are really the ones who are orchestrating everything. So what does that mean? Voldemort, he destroyed it. Voldemort is now prone to attack. All you gotta do is get rid of him, and then you're home free.
Right, we'll get to that. Then, what I guessed yesterday, remember that? That I was like, Ginny's alive. Ginny's alive. Ginny is alive. Her son was born on October 20th, 2003. She named him James Sirius Potter. You're his godmother. So she's still kind of remembering things. It's a little blurry for her right now, but that's what's going on. Draco and Snape have found a way to kill Voldemort, and they're waiting for the most opportune time to do it, which is most likely 2 years after, you know, the final fight at Hogwarts. But those are the main things I wanted to talk about, so I'll catch you later. Anyway, happy 4th. Bye! So I'm reading, and at least he knows he has to take accountability, because you know how I've been saying, like, yeah, he's been doing all this bad stuff, but like, he did it for a reason, and I feel like they were trying to justify it, but even he knows that he can't justify it. It says, Hermione was like, it's not your fault. He says, not my fault? Is that how I should think about it all? Nothing is ever my fault, not my mother, not Dumbledore, or anyone I've ever killed. If I rationalize it enough, I had no choice in any of it, did I? What about you? Is what happened to you not my fault either? Should I blame you instead, or the Dark Lord, or perhaps the world in general? Would embracing eternal victimhood somehow make me feel better? That's what I'm saying, like, I feel like, I don't know. Because it is his fault, he did do those things. Like, there's no escaping that. But it's a very interesting question to pose. So at least he doesn't justify it. Which is better than thinking that he did it with a justifiable reason. I don't know. But I feel like people out there are gonna justify everything that he did. I won't, though. I'm not gonna justify it. Because he did do that. He killed a lot of people, probably hundreds of people. I'm just saying. Hey, what's up? What was I gonna say? I think it's like been like a day or two since I've seen you. Yeah, but I just wanted to fill you in on a few things. I'm about 90 pages away from the end. I just have things I want to talk about, okay? I want to talk about Topsy. Topsy is almost like my new Dobby, I swear. I love Topsy. Topsy's Draco's elf. And Draco's saying that Topsy will go with Hermione. And Topsy's gonna help Hermione with the baby because she's raised several babies and she's helped Ginny out with like James. And I don't know, something about Draco saying she's a good elf. She'll know any stories about me you could want. And that comes back to hurt later. Actually, let's talk about it now. Let's talk about Topsy right now. Topsy's a really good freaking elf, okay? This is actually one of the latest things I've highlighted. Basically, plans have changed. And Snape is dead. Crazy, I know. His body came back along with other Death Eaters' bodies, and it says the blood of the Dark Lord's servants will fuel the revolution. Long live the revolution. The Order 2.0. Back to my original statement of the Order 2.0 that never came back again after I said it that one time. Yeah, the Order 2.0. Long live the revolution. But it says that the rest of Eastern Europe is expected to follow suit within the next few days. It's the collapse we orchestrated. They just fast forwarded. We thought it was gonna happen in July, but it's like, it's accelerated a somewhat decent amount of time. And something about Draco's line of, what's the point of legitimacy if you don't use it to keep someone from killing you? He survived as a spy through 2 wizarding wars only to be killed by an insurgent vampire coven. And then he calls him an idiot. Because Snape said that he had everything under control. He's talking about the death of Snape like it's like the most stupidest thing that Snape's ever done in his life was get himself killed. Which, I mean, he did survive 2 wizarding wars. Snape was supposed to be the one to bring Hermione to the safe house, but now he can't. So Draco was gonna take her. Topsy is gonna have to go to help Ginny with the baby, okay? And just the way Topsy handles the situation, because Topsy was supposed to stay with Draco. And again, this is reminding me of Dobby, just because they both seem like so pure. Topsy stood for a moment as she stared up at Draco. Then she blinked, and her enormous eyes filled with tears. And when will Topsy see Master Draco again? Don't do this, Topsy. This has always been the plan. Topsy shook her head and stomped her tiny foot. You was not even saying goodbye. You was just sending Topsy away. An enormous tear slid down Topsy's nose and splashed onto the floor. Topsy was to stay to the end, you promised. Draco looked at her. his eyes flickering for a moment before they turned flint-like and his expression hardened. "It's not an option now, Topsy. You have an order from your master." Topsy didn't move. She kept staring up at Draco. Several more tears splashed onto the floor. "Topsy, go now." His voice was cold and firm, and Hermione felt the magic in the air. Topsy's eyes widened with horror, and she reached toward him. "No, please, Master Draco." She vanished before she finished speaking. Topsy! She didn't say goodbye. Like, she's raised Draco, I assume, since he was either a baby or was very little. And she wanted to stay with her master until the end. Tell me that's not the saddest thing you've ever heard. Topsy. Before that debacle, Lucius killed Astoria. I found that crazy. No hesitation in Lucius whatsoever. And I have to go over what I read today regarding Lucius. Lucius went into Hermione's head and saw everything. Her relationship with Draco, what Voldemort and the Death Eaters did to Narcissa. And as soon as we went down that road and kind of like Draco came in, like I knew, especially when they started going over the memories about the Dark Mark and how she needed Phoenix Tears to kind of, you know, slowly get that Dark Mark off, I knew the direction we were going in, because of course Lucius would have Phoenix Tears. That is the direction in which we're heading. The reason why Narcissa didn't want to tell Lucius was because he was going to do something drastic. So now that he knows that Voldemort did something to like one of the only people he ever cared about, like obviously he's out for revenge. He could be the one to kill Voldemort. Well, no, that can't be true because he has the Dark Mark. Anyway, you know what I mean. But obviously he has Phoenix Tears, so Hermione's gonna use that to take off Draco's Dark Mark. That's gonna happen. And obviously Lucius is gonna betray it. Obviously he wants something in return, but we don't know what that is yet. But this is interesting. This is very interesting. Yeah. That's like the important thing that I read today. But yeah, also Bobbin, the new elf that's kind of been taking care of Hermione while Topsy's gone. Lucius, you know, got to Hermione because of a port key. And Bobbin, when he sees Draco, he was like, I don't know how that happened. And then he starts to punish himself like Dobby used to. I'm like, Bobbin, no, it's okay. Okay, listen. Something about the elves, like, I am with Hermione, canonly, with Spew. Elf rights. You know what we don't talk about enough? Droid rights for Star Wars. We don't talk about that enough because the way, this is not a Star Wars video, but the way that they treat these droids is criminal. Like, you're telling me that these droids don't feel anything? I know they do because R2-D2 gets scared. Like, C-3PO is anxious. Like, you could say it's down to programming, but they feel things. And I will stand by that. Droid rights. It's kind of the same camp I fall into with elves, except elves are living creatures. So I'm gonna keep reading. I'm hoping to it's Sunday actually. I wanted to finish this by this weekend, aka today, but that's not gonna happen. So I'm aiming for Tuesday, tomorrow or Tuesday. Yeah, but ever since half point, I think, or a little bit more than half point, I had an idea of what the rating was gonna be. That's how I usually am. And now that I'm like nearing the end, I'm kind of honing in on what this rating is gonna be. And I can't say it's changed much. So I already know the realm of the amount. I just need to get down to an exact number, you know what I mean? Okay, that's it. I'll see you later. Hey, what's up? I'm reading. She's brewed the potion and everything. And Lucius was like, that's gonna remove the Dark Mark? And she was like, no, it stops the curse from killing him after I was like, oh, that's the plan. I know we mentioned it before, but I thought we had come up, I don't know why I thought we came up with a solution to not. So like, the reason why we have to do that and then take the potion is because if not, the Dark Mark will literally kill him. But for some reason that slipped my mind that we were going down that route. So I was just like, oh, yeah, that's where we are. Again, she hasn't used magic in 2 years, but at the same time, I'm wondering why Lucius can't do this. And maybe it's because he doesn't have as much experience, but still, he's been constantly using magic since
he was 11 years old. Like, I don't know why he can't help out. Maybe he's not very trustworthy at the moment, but I think that could have been a good option. But we're just going with Hermione's plan right now. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't even know what would happen. Like, if we did all this for Draco to survive and Hermione to die, I think he might lose it and just off himself, but I don't think that's the road they want to go down. But then to do all of this and have him die seems like we did it for nothing. Like, we're doing all of this and for what if he dies, you know? Unless we want to go the happy route and he's actually going to survive and she is going to survive and they're all going to be happy together. I don't know which way I want this to go. As I said before, their relationship is kind of like it's nothing special to me, I guess is the way I should put it. Like, it's just a relationship, like they're together and I get why they're together, but at the same time I don't have any meaning attached to it. Like, I'm not like ride or die for this relationship, so it can go any which way and I feel like I'll be okay with it. Yeah, okay, BRB. Oh my god, my music. My light reading music. This is not light reading. They're about to take her manacles off. This is stressing me out. This is thoroughly stressing me out. I don't even know. Okay. She goes, I'm ready. But I'm not ready. She might be ready, but I'm not ready. Oh my god. Oh god, this is so good. This is so good. Oh my god. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Why is Lucius kind of funny? Why is he kind of funny? If I harm her, you will undoubtedly blasphemize your mother's memory, torture me most horribly, and we will die dreadfully. I am aware, Draco. Shouldn't you be focused more on your own well-being and impending maiming? You couldn't have fallen for a more competent healer. It's a little funny, okay? She's doing it. She started. She just started. This is... Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't know why you're watching me read. Actually, I'm not saying anything. I'll BRB. Oh my god, hi. I read last night and I officially kind of finished. I'm on to the first epilogue. Everything's nice and peachy, but I can't help but think, like Hermione, that something is coming. Topsy, okay, the first thing I want to talk about is how Topsy met back up with Draco and then she kicked him in the shin. I'm so glad she got to see Draco again. That was bothering me. As soon as they got there, I was like, where's Topsy? She needs to see him. She eventually saw him. Everything's all good. She kicked him in the shin, as she should. At least they're both okay. At least Topsy's okay. At least she survived and at least now she's calm. That's what I'm happy about. And what the last thing I highlighted that Hermione said, that I was also like, yes, Hermione, like what I just said to you. And yet there was an edge of paranoia she couldn't shake. There had to be something lurking, something waiting, something that was going to go wrong. Inevitable ruin was dangling over her head like the sword of Damocles. I also can't help but think that there's something coming. Voldemort isn't dead. Again, like, we've kind of addressed the fact that Hermione doesn't have to do anything in that vein. She's done enough. Draco's, like, done enough. I mean, it's, like she said, it's someone else's turn to do something. Like, everything was up to her. Even when they were in the Order together, like, no one was taking her seriously. And now Ginny was finally like, yeah, you were right. Yeah, we should have done something. And, like, yeah. Now someone, like, Voldemort's already dying. Like, maybe just let him gradually go. I'll be right back. I have to go. Hi, what's up? I'm reading. It's Wednesday. Can we talk? Can we talk about the MACUSA and what are they called? International Confederation? Because this is reminding me a lot about Fudge and what happened in the Order of the Phoenix and then what happened in the Half-Blood Prince, okay? Let's talk about politics, okay? In terms of Fudge, Fudge's main concern was that Dumbledore was going to take his job. That and the fact that he didn't want to believe that Voldemort was coming back is the reason why they never took Harry seriously and why everyone was dragging Harry throughout that entire book. I'm running out of battery. When did that happen?
Hey, what's up? Guess what? Can't find my charger, so I'm coming at you from my laptop because I have no other choice. And I really wanted to talk about this, but as I was saying, in the not the Half-Blood Prince. Yeah, in the Half-Blood Prince, during Christmas time, the new Minister of Magic, you know, the Bill Nye character in goes to Harry asking him to show support for the ministry so it looks like they're actually doing something to, like, catch Voldemort, okay? After everything that the ministry did to Harry, he has the audacity to do this. Was crazy. When they could have been doing something from the beginning, but they chose not to take Dumbledore's word for it, or Harry, or even the fact that Cedric died out there in the maze as confirmation. Like, they had to see Voldemort with their own eyes to do something about it, which was whatever. To go with this flow of incompetence, now I'm coming back to this manacled situation. The MACUSA does nothing to help, and neither does the International Confederation. And Hermione predicts that once the war is like winding down, obviously the International Confederation is going to step in, so it'll look like they did something to bring Voldemort down. And now that we're talking about this, they want to claim what's it called? Ignorance or lack of whatever, ignorance, if you will, to everything that was going on. You know Voldemort was not a good person from the beginning, but you were just too scared to come against him, and now you're trying to claim ignorance as to the fact that you didn't know what he was doing. Okay. Can we, for a minute? The International Confederation couldn't deny knowledge of the repopulation program, but they claimed complete ignorance about the circumstances. The Supreme Mugwump gave a speech insisting that the International Confederation had been told that participation as a surrogate was voluntary, which is complete and utter bull, because that newspaper with Hermione's face on it was probably sent all over the world. It was well known by everyone in the Death Eaters knew. It was in a newspaper and to the entirety of Europe, I assume, that Hermione was now a surrogate. You're gonna tell me that you're gonna claim ignorance about this when you probably knew that Hermione, you know, Harry Potter's best friend, was a part of the Resistance and is now willingly a surrogate for the High Reeve, which is Hand to the King being Voldemort? You're funny. It makes me mad. It's making me mad. So they had been told that the participation as a surrogate was voluntary, and that if they'd known prisoners were being used as lab rats and forcibly impregnated, then they would have intervened years sooner. You're funny. You knew Voldemort was coming around Europe, killing everybody and torturing them, and you knew the state of the things that were happening, and you're gonna claim that you didn't know what was going on? You're funny. That's the most that I've read. But it's funny. I just find it funny. And it's the audacity. Because Scrimgeour, Bill Nye did the same thing to Harry. The Ministry tore Harry apart, and then they had the audacity to ask him for help, even if it was just a facade. Like, you don't have to actually, like, believe in us or anything. Can you just, like, say that you're backing us so everybody knows that we're actually doing something about it, even though we're not, you know? Screw you. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. This is making me mad. Also, they had a baby. It's now one. What was her name? Aurora? Or I keep calling her Aurora because that's what it looks like. Aurora, whatever. Yeah, that's what's happening. What do I think is gonna happen? Girl, I don't know. Hermione's mind is still in a very fragile state. Draco was asking about the Heart of Isis. Do I know what he can do with that? No. Can he take it out of himself and give it to her? Who knows? Maybe. Do I think he'll do that? If he can, he will, and he'll die. So, who knows? TBD. We'll keep you updated. Yeah. Okay, bye. It's been 3 seconds. Healer Strahd fled, disappeared into the night before the trials for the repopulation program began. Count your days. I will hunt you down. I will hunt you down. Screw you. Screw you. She better count her days. I swear. What's up? I just finished epilogue 2. We have one more. Okay. Few things. Ginny, no, I didn't tell you this. Ginny killed Voldemort? Yeah. Crazy. But good. Like, I thought it was gonna be, for some reason, like, either Hermione or Draco, but it's, like, fitting that she did it, and good for her. You know, now she's kind of, like, getting everything into place with the internet. You know, the people, like, the ministry and all that is being set right, and we're good on that front. Also, apparently there were whispers about a curse on the Defense Against the Dark Arts position at Hogwarts, which we know about. And Jenny was like, I'll teach it. And I'm like, is that curse still ongoing? Because if it is, then it's not going to end well for her. Because there is a curse. Unless that curse kind of finished? I don't know. Who knows? Also, Strahd, when I said count your days, I really meant it because Draco got her. And that's the only thing of note that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, when Ginny came back, she took James back with her, and Aurora, let's call her Rory because that's what James called her, was very attached to James, and it just reminded, I'm like, in another life, like literally Harry and Hermione. But yeah, they got a dog named Padfoot. Isn't that cute? And then Padfoot, James gave Padfoot to Rory because he had to leave and she couldn't go with him. But in this time period, 5 years have passed, 10 years have passed, and I took a peek because I didn't want this to happen. But I took a peek at epilogue 3, and we're in current timeline, August 2024. I have a weird thing about time passing. I don't like it. I don't like to read about it. Like, even, like, the original, like, Harry Potter 19 years later, I don't like it. I don't know. It makes me feel some type of way. I just don't it freaks me out, okay? Like, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, everything is going okay, but why did we have to jump that long? I'm just gonna read this. I don't even know what to say about this at this point, but like, things are progressing. This is the last chapter, and I am worried about how this is gonna wrap up exactly. So yeah, I'll come to you with anything new. The Hogwarts Trio, Christmas 2002. Harry Potter with Friends. Ron Weasley. See Weasley, Ron, Chapter 7. And Muggle-born witch, Hermione Granger. Granger left England at the start of the Second Wizarding War to study healing abroad. She survived the war, but died during imprisonment while a surrogate in the repopulation program. She was a non-active member of the Order of the Phoenix and did not fight. That pisses me off. That pisses me off. And you know what? I get why, but I don't like why. At least say she was a healer during the war. She wasn't a non-active member. That is a bold-faced lie, because everyone who is still alive from the surrogate program knows that Hermione was involved. That is a blatant lie, and it pisses me off, because you're saying that Hermione did nothing during this war, even though her two best friends were out here. That makes me mad. Okay? I finished it. We didn't see Hermione and Draco in this epilogue 3. And I guess I'm kind of happy in that sense, because at the end of epilogue 2, can we just go back how it ended? Because it was kind of nice. What do we do now? Anything you want, for as long as you want to. It's just nice that they can finally, like, live together at least and have a semi-normal life, even though they have to hide. I mean, having a life outside of the war, after the war, was never something either of them planned, which is nice in that sense. But I'm still upset about saying that she had nothing to do with this war. Also, I just saw that there are extra little, like, written works, and I'm having I just finished it, like, probably 5 minutes ago. So I'm gonna read those because I just need some time to marinate. I'm narrowing down a rating in my mind, and I have things I want to talk about in full. Who knows how long this video is, honestly. At this point, at least I'm saying everything I want to say about this, and this was just really good, okay? So yeah, I'm gonna read these 4 extra little stories that are connected somewhat to manacles, and I'll be back. I just keep staring at this picture, okay? I think it's safe to say, obviously, I knew from the beginning of when we saw James and Rory together that was going to be something that happened. And you know what? It's canon in my head. Even though we didn't, fully get anything between them, like, fully. there are hints of something brewing there. So from the beginning, when Hermione said that she'd gotten possessive of like James, like I was like, yeah, locked in. But yeah, I'm gonna read this. Maybe I'll come back to you, and I'll finish off there. We have a James and Rory one shot, Draco and Rory scene, a Hermione and Draco post epilogue scene, and a Hermione and Severus prompted deleted flashback, which I looked into it, and apparently it's in between chapters 50 and 51 of the story. I'm gonna read all of that, and I'll be right back. Hey, what's up? It's me. I'm gonna go to bed, but it's 2:32 in the morning. I read all of what I said I was gonna read. When it said Hermione and Severus, like Snape, I feel weird calling him Severus. When it said Hermione and like Snape deleted flashback, you know what I was expecting? I was expecting, you know, like it said something in between like a few chapters in the flashback, and I was expecting a conversation, you know, something to fit into the story, maybe something related to the story. I did not expect them to like almost kiss. What the hell was that? I did not like that. I did not like that. I was not expecting that at all. On a rating scale, that's at the bottom because what the hell was that? That felt so wrong. Whatever, okay? The first one, I feel like the two other ones are too short to really rate them, but my favorite is, I guess, the James and Rory kind of like what if scenario of them after this story, like the relationship. Obviously they're together, felt that coming from all directions, but it was nice, a little extra sprinkled in there. Jenny was also in there, so it's nice. But the other ones are short, nothing really of note. But yeah, that Hermione and Snape one really caught me off guard, and I don't know where that came from. Anyway, yeah, next time I see you, I'll have a new battery and I'll be giving you all my thoughts. I've narrowed down a rating-ish, but yeah, I'll get to talking about that as soon as I can. I already made a note of everything I want to talk about, like it's all here. I made this as I was finishing out the book, but I have everything written in here, spoilers and non-spoilers, so we can talk about that. Well, this is exciting, I think, that I finished this. I don't know, it's like, it's my first Hermione fan fiction. I can't say I've ever put any thought into that relationship whatsoever, but here I am. I'll get into that later. I was gonna start talking about that whole relationship, but yeah, anyway, I'm done now, and I'll see you in like 2 seconds for you. Could be like 3 days for me, but yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey, what's up? It has been 17 days since I finished Manacled, and I've kind of taken this time to, not really actually, I took a few days after to think about it, and then I just stopped thinking about it, and now I was like, it's 17 days, like I need to sit down and talk to you about it, so that's what I'm here for. Yeah, this is my non-spoiler review of Manacled. Yeah, let's get into this because it's an interesting one for sure. Okay, Manacled is a Hermione, every time I say Hermione, it just kind of like makes me laugh because I never would have thought that I would read a Hermione fanfiction, yet I'm here. Especially like reading fanfiction in this year. Like maybe if it was like 2013 I could say that, but I don't know, somehow I ended up here and I'm totally fine with it actually. It's a Hermione fanfiction. It is like a what if scenario if Voldemort had won the war instead of like, you know, Harry and the way the story goes in Harry Potter. Yeah, so I read this because I heard a lot of people talking about this. Everybody talks about this fanfiction. They talk so highly about it, and I
was missing out on it. I was like, I need to be in on this conversation, so I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read this. Did not realize how long it was. Manacled is being turned into a published book in September, I think. So I started reading Manacled last year, actually, in October of 2024 or September of 2024, somewhere around there. And I don't know why I stopped. I think I kind of wanted to read other things, and then I always said I was going to go back to it, and I never did. And I had my footage already in there and edited, and I was like, I just have to go back to finish this book and complete this video that I already had way too much footage to give up on by then, because I had an hour of footage, and I was like, that needs to be edited, that needs to be a video. Like, I did not edit that for this to be nothing, which is why I picked it back up again. And I'm really glad I did, actually. It's not to say that I lost interest in the story, I just got caught up in other things, and then the holidays came around, and now we're here. What can I say? Before I go into this, I have to say that if you want to read this, you have to check out the trigger warnings for sure. Like, no doubt. I didn't do that. This book has a lot of stuff going on in it, and if you do think you have some triggers and stuff, like, I know that you're gonna need to check those out before you go into this book, for sure, 100%. So this is kind of like something that came up in my mind multiple times while I was reading this book, because, you know, this is based off of Harry Potter, like a what if scenario of Harry Potter. And what I thought, like, I read Harry Potter, I know Harry Potter movies and all of that stuff, and if you haven't read it before going into Manacled, I feel like you should. If you've never read Harry Potter, I feel like you should read those books, and then you should get into Manacled, because I think that you will get so much more of an impact out of this book if you read Harry Potter first. Okay? There are just too many ties into that book series and those characters that you're going to be missing out on a lot of context and relationships that were happening in the past, like in those books, that you're not going to get. Like, you're not going to get that information here. Like, I feel like you have to have that information to really get an impact out of this. And that kind of pulls me into what's happening with this published book, because, you know, Manacled is being turned into Alchemized, that's what it's called, and it's going to be released. And something that, like, as I was reading and getting towards the end, I was like, how are they going to do this? Like, you're basing this off of another work, and to be published, you have to take all traces of that out of this book. And not that this is like a video about Alchemized, this is a video about Manacled, but I'm just wondering how that's going to work. I am going to pick up that book when it comes out, no doubt, because I'm so interested in what that book is going to look like after these characters and this IP has been stripped out of it. Like, I'm just wondering how the workaround is going to work, and if we're going to have the ties to the characters that we did in this book, because we know these characters. Okay, this is, I feel like, marketed as a lot of people's like dark fantasy romance situation. Can I just say, this is so much more than a Hermione fanfiction. Like, I came into this thinking it was going to be a good story, and it was a good story, okay? It was. But was I in it for Hermione? No. No, that was never why I went into this, and that is not a reason why I kept reading. If anything, I'm a Hermione critic. Not gonna get too much into that, especially in this case. I stayed for the story of, like, you know, what if Voldemort won the war? How does that affect the relationships in this world and what happens after the fact? Like, that's what I stayed here for, and that's what most of my rating is based off of. If I was rating this as a romance, dark fantasy situation, no, dark romance. What was the other part that I said? Dark romance? Whatever. Romance book, like, my rating would not be high at all. If I was just looking at it on that front, like, could not give less of a crap. Looking at this as, like, in reality, it's a book about war, because, you know, the Order, if you know about Harry Potter, you know, the Order and Voldemort, this is like a war between them, and it's a really good book, okay? It is a really good book. And I am as surprised as I can be with my own feelings about this, because going into this I thought it was like, yep, it'll be a good like average fanfic. I feel like the term fanfic has a very special connotation to most people. Like, you think fanfic and you think lousy writing, normal like One Direction fan fiction or something. And when I talk about the writing, I will say that it has really good writing. Some things can be repetitive, but like the writing is still good. Like, if you would have taken some of those repetitive like instances out, like, this is a very well written book, and the way the relationships are depicted in this book were so good, and we get to know what everyone is feeling and why they're acting the way they're acting, and I just, it was good, okay? But I feel like that is all I can really say without going into like a lot of what's in this book. I was more interested in the war plot in this book, and Hermione's relationships, and the things that influence her relationships in this book. Especially if you read or watch Harry Potter before reading this, it's really good. Like, I feel like things developed in this what if scenario somewhat to very realistically to what the main plot is. Like, there's a few things that I kind of was like off about, but like still I think this was a very natural progression from, you know, the original books and like plot to what we got here. And listen, the Cursed Child, I don't like it. This is what the Cursed Child wished it was. You know, the Cursed Child is like a what if Voldemort won kind of type of scenario. Push that aside. If you're looking for that, read Manacled instead. That's all I have to say. Anyway, I just found like my written notes for this. I couldn't find it before. Yeah, plot really good. Romance, can't justify it. Sorry, that's just me. Engagement level while reading this book was, I was very engaged in this book. I was reading it. I was eating this up. Like, it had me thinking about it. Like, I just wanted to keep reading and keep finding out more about this story, and I got there. Like, what can I say? I was very engaged and very entertained in what was happening. Also, there are so many magic details in this book that I feel like we didn't touch on in the original books, like at all. But there's so much detail to magic and potions and the way that this works. It was really interesting, and that's nothing that I've read about before in the other Harry Potter books, and we never like really went into that. But I feel like this book really explored that and really went into like some of the technical aspects of that, which I didn't find boring. I found them actually really interesting. So yeah, again, I'm still a little bit concerned as to how this is gonna transfer into like the new book, but I'm gonna read it anyway. I've been dabbling on a rating, and I actually went into my notes to like where I review all my books to see if I gave it a rating, and I just never did. But this is the rating that I've had in my head for a little bit, and I'm gonna give it a 4.6 out of 5 stars. I'm thoroughly happy with that, I think. The ending, I just thought was gonna go in a different way, or was gonna tie things off differently, which is like just a minor little detail in my whole rating process, but overall, I really enjoyed it. The romance, not for me. I didn't stick around for it, but if you're into Hermione or something, this could potentially be a book for you. What can I say? But if you're into Hermione or just have heard a lot about this book, I honestly would say check it out. Just for funsies. See what happens. The reading order for this book is a little bit funky as well. There's kind of 3 parts to the story, and I read it in the way that it was written. So I read it part 1, 2, and then 3. But I've heard some people read it part 2, then part 1, then part 3, which would be in timeline order. I don't know what I would recommend for you. Do I think chronological like timeline order would be good? Yes. But I think there's a sense of mystery and more of an impact if you go in the way that it was written. Maybe? I don't know. Honestly, that's up to you. Find your own reading order. I went in the way it was written. I was, for the most part, happy in the way that I read it. There was just like a few things that like when you're reading it in this way, you're kind of wanting to get back to where you were Whatever, that's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, a 4.6 out of 5 stars. Honestly, overall, very good. I would recommend it. Check out the trigger warnings just to be safe. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe maybe. And if you want to keep up with me anywhere else, all my socials are linked down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Hey, it's been 17 days since I finished this book. Yeah. And I honestly thought about it for 2 or 3 days after I finished this book, and then I didn't really settle on a rating, and I just had to settle on my own rating while I filmed the non-spoiler review. So now I have a rating, but that's a rating that I've been thinking about when I thought about this book. Like I leaned towards that rating, so that's what I went with, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. But let's get into spoiler talk. It's funny because I went into my non-spoiler review without a bulleted list because I couldn't find it, and then towards the end I found my bulleted list. So these are my spoiler talking points, and I'm so glad I have this because this is very helpful. First, let's start off with predictability and engagement level. You know, I love my predictions. If you watch this video or any of my other videos, I just love making predictions. And on this predictability scale, I would do it at about a medium. You know, I throw out a bunch of different theories, and after a little while, I settle on one. And I think in this one, I don't know, I'd like to think that I predicted a few of the things that happened, but it was like a medium predictability, and I like predicting stuff. It doesn't really bother me, and I was thoroughly entertained by this and engaged with what was happening and always wanting to read more. So that's not a negative at all, actually. The writing, for it being a fan fiction has a very negative connotation. I feel like you think of like bad writing and like One Direction fanfics and stuff like that, but I was expecting like lower quality writing because, again, like the connotation between fanfiction and writing is not generally positive. But for this, I was very thoroughly surprised, and overall I thought it actually had really good writing. You know, there's a few things that were getting repetitive that could have been tweaked a little bit. Just like the reiteration of certain things, like, oh, I have to save Draco, or just like that stuff. Like, I don't know, like we'll get to the Draco stuff in a minute, but like yeah, she must have said it like a million times in the book, like, oh, I have to save Draco, like that's what I'm here for, blah, 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 whatever. But it's not just that. There's like other things that I can't think of right now because I finished this book 17 days ago. But I feel like if those were less common, if we take out a few of the repetitive like things in there, it would have been like a teeny tiny bit better. Going in with the writing details, the magic details that we got in this book are way more than we ever got in the original Harry Potter series, and I find that so interesting and so fascinating because we learn a lot about wands, potions, and just magic and how it works, how spells are created, which is something that I never thought of, and like the way antidotes and counter curses are produced. Super interesting stuff. I never thought about it, and I didn't think that was something that I was gonna get in this book, but I did, and I was, again, very engaged in those portions. This also kind of wraps into like the manacles, and we see kind of the progression from where we were. Okay, let's start with the original timeline. Manacles are slapped on, we don't know what they do, then we find out they repress magic. Okay, then we go into like the past timeline, and we see people coming. Was it Ron, the first one who came back with manacles? And we see like prototypes and things like that, and as time goes on we get like a more developed manacle until we get back to the present timeline with these manacles that are slapped on Hermione and are, you know, the final product and very effective. And just seeing the progression of the prototype and what they added, what they fixed to make this final product was also very interesting. And the fact that after the war, Hermione was thinking, yeah, they're gonna be using these in Azkaban for all the prisoners. Like, everything was very well thought out, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well. I want to get into the talk about what this book is characterized as. I feel like people say Hermione fanfic, dark romance. I feel like that's what it's going to be marketed as when it comes out into alchemized. Like, it's a dark romance fantasy. I would like to break that notion before it gets going. Do I categorize this as a romance? No, not in the least. I categorize this as a war fantasy situation. If you watch the video, you know how I feel about this book. Like, I thought this was a very good book. Romance-wise, honestly, no. The rating I would give this as a romance and as what it is as a whole are two very different things. I did not get on board with the Hermione ship, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's not something that I kept reading for. I kept reading for Hermione's relationship, the impact of the war on her relationships, and the way this war was going to turn out. Draco and Hermione were, like, you know, you go into this knowing it's a Hermione fanfiction, so when I first started reading this, I'm like, how is this gonna turn into like a fanfic? Like, are you kidding me? Especially when you're still in like part 1. You're like, what? I'm gonna flat out say it. No, it was not okay what he was doing in part 1. I know they want to justify it as something that he had to do to survive. No. I know Hermione a lot of the times in this book, and I feel like the author was also trying to find a way to justify this, but it's also like playing the devil's advocate with itself, because they're also like, yeah, but it's not okay. Like, Draco was killing people, children, like muggles, and he was killing a lot of people. And I don't know, like, I don't know. Like, at one point they try to humanize Draco killing Colin Creevey because he killed his brother first and he was giving Colin time to run away. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about this because it gets me heated, honestly, because I do not find Draco's actions redeemable in any way. And I feel like, again, brought up in the book was like, he was forced to do it. Were you? I mean, in a way he was forced to do it because he was working for Voldemort. Like, you could say like you didn't want to do it. Like, I didn't want to kill him, but like I still did it because I had to. Like, if you say that in court, you're going to jail. Like, you're still guilty, you know what I mean? Like, no. I feel like we know how I feel about this topic. Those actions are not justifiable, and I will not be entertaining the thought that he did not have a choice, because he did. And he made that choice when he killed like who knows how many people. Hence why they were in hiding at the end of the book, but whatever. It was very interesting the way they took Draco's reason for spying, and the more they explained it, the more I understood it, especially when they were like, well, if you were doing this because, you know, Voldemort basically tortured and killed your mother, like, why didn't you come to us immediately after? And he was like, well, I thought that Voldemort would think that I would do that, and he was keeping an eye on me anyway to see if I would do anything, so that would be super suspicious if I did, so I waited like 2 years before I came to you guys, but still I want my revenge. Was honestly very well thought out and realistic, even though I feel like someone would have messed up around there and would have like given themselves away, but I thought it was a very well thought out plan on his part. It's not like a weak part of the story. Like, I thought it was very solid and very understandable why he was doing this. Jumping back on the Hermione and Draco train, while I didn't like that relationship, I understand why in that moment and in that time and in this universe Hermione would go towards Draco. And I feel like a lot of that falls onto like the circumstances they were put in and the way that she was treated by her friends. Harry, when I get my hands on you. I have a big problem with Harry. If you don't watch this entire video, honestly justifiable, because I don't know how long this is. I probably altogether have 5 hours of footage of me reading this book, but let's break it down. Harry, I was so pissed off at him. What the hell? Ron, still what the hell, but like to a little like of a less extent. Kingsley, watch your back. Moody, watch your back. Snape, sorry bro, sorry that happened to you. Like, he was in it even after like everything happened with Hermione. RIP, really thought he was gonna make it. Voldemort, screw you as always. Lucius, are you joking? Are you kidding? Oh, what he did to the Weasley family? Oh, I know he's glad he's dead because I would have come after him. The way that wrapped up, by the way, very interesting, especially how Narcissa tied into that. Super interesting. And this is what I mean, like, I feel like this book is very well thought out because there are so many things going on, and this actually works so well. Like, Narcissa impact Voldemort, Lucius Malfoy, Draco. Yeah, maybe just those three. But in doing that, you affect a lot of people. Like, Lucius will turn on Voldemort because you went after Narcissa, and so will Draco. Yeah, I have it noted here, Hermione's relationship to Harry and Ron. It hurt. It really did. And I feel like this is why I would recommend reading Harry Potter before Manacled, because just having that background to Hermione's relation, that's what hit the most for me, and that's what was most sad for me, was reading how Hermione's relationship with Harry and Ron deteriorated so much after the war. Harry, oh Harry, this is a part where I get a little bit confused, because I'm like, would Harry act like this? Like, I know like he could act like this in a way, but like Harry has used a dark curse before, and I just don't know if he would be entirely opposed to using dark magic to the point where he was, and like completely like let it impact his relationship with Hermione, like not even understanding where she came from for a long time until it was too late. Like, I'm not sure if that would happen, but still, like, I understand why he wanted to only use like light magic and everything. I'm not gonna say I didn't like it, because I hated the way it impacted the relationship, but it made a lot of sense. And that's what makes me mad, because I'm like, Harry, like, stop. Hermione just needs a friend. And I feel like I don't know, like, I feel like Moody and Kingsley know what Hermione's talking about, but I just don't think like enough of the Order saw Hermione's point, which is maybe like not very realistic, because I feel like there would be like a small group of people who'd be like, yeah, like we should be using dark magic. Like, I'm not sure if the entire Order would be turning on her for that, but they did, and that's something I actually genuinely hated, because that's what left Hermione so isolated, and them treating her as lesser than because she was the healer and she doesn't know what actually goes on the battlefield. And like her working with Draco in the first place, and that leading to better outcomes for Harry's like fights like out there, like the battles, and then being like, yeah, like look Hermione, like we don't need to be using dark magic because we're winning. And Hermione's like, yeah, because of me, because of Draco and what we're doing. You don't know the real reason why you're succeeding in here. I'm getting heated again because it bothers me so much, but that's like, I get both sides. I'm just not happy about it, and that's not a negative. It's like something I'm not happy with, but it's good writing. Past and present timelines. I haven't really thought much about the way I would read. Well, actually, no. Reading this the first time, I like reading things in the way it was written. So if it's written a certain way, that's the way I'm gonna read it. Okay, that's just what I'm gonna do. Alternative reading styles, or I don't know, like, I don't know what it's called, like layouts, I guess, are part 2, then part 1, then part 3. And that's interesting because that's usual chronological order of timeline, or the written, like you have a present timeline, a past timeline, and a present timeline. And I feel like, especially for me, since I thought the past timeline was only gonna last like 3 chapters, I feel like I thought we were gonna fade in, fade out, like it was gonna be a dual timeline situation, and it wasn't. It was like, we're here for 25 chapters and then we're leaving that completely and going here for 38 chapters. I just didn't think that's the way we were going with this, but that's what happened, and I felt myself wondering what was happening in the present timeline. While everything in the past timeline was really interesting, I felt a drawback to the present to see what was going on there, especially because we left off at kind of like a cliffhanger. Like, I wanted to go back there and find out what was happening. And I don't know, like, especially like getting towards the end, I really wanted to go back to that present timeline. I can't really recommend one over the other, but I feel like if I do read this again at some point, I will be going in chronicle like timeline order. The way it was written creates like a sense of mystery, which was nice when I read it as well. I just don't know. I don't have a preference at this point. Maybe if I read it again, it'll be different. But yeah, I don't really have a solid take on this. Okay, I feel like we talked a lot about politics in, was it the Half-Blood Prince? With the Minister of Magic kind of going out to Harry and being like, hey, can you like give us a promo saying that you're working with us and you have a lot of faith in us to catch Voldemort? And Harry was like, after everything you just put me through in Order of the Phoenix, like, are you joking? Like, you called me a liar? Everything they said was defamatory to Harry. Like, there was a lot of politics involved in that, and we got politics here, especially towards, no, we got sprinklings of politics, and then towards the end we were like full on. I found it interesting and somewhat realistic to the world because of what happened with like Harry in that universe, but it was very interesting that the MACUSA did nothing to step in and help. and that Hermione called it, that they were gonna come in and help towards the end of the war to say that they did something. And the McCusa saying like, oh, we didn't know Voldemort was doing all this, like we thought that the surrogates were volunteers. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, are you dumb? You really, like, are you dumb? Like, genuinely, are you dumb? Hermione Granger was one of Harry Potter's best friends, and you think that literally being a surrogate for Draco Malfoy, who was the High Reeve who helped kill the Order, like, you think that she would willingly do that? No! Like, stop lying. The McCusa's useless. I thought that Voldemort painting the Order as the bad guys by saying that, you know, they were like bombing hospitals and everything, like they were the ones that needed to be stopped, was really smart on his behalf. And that's how you get the public against the Order and kind of leaning towards Voldemort's side, because they're like, this guy isn't as bad as what the Order's doing. Like, they're doing a whole bunch of bad stuff and like they need to be stopped. So like they're gonna go to Voldemort and be like, hey, like, we support you, like, woohoo. I don't know. Like, it's a really smart tactic on his part. I wrote here Voldemort and Death Eater's plan, and I can't remember what I was insinuating there. What was the plan? I don't know what I meant by that, but know that I wanted to talk about that, but I don't remember. The escape plan from Malfoy Manor, I feel like went in a way that I was thinking it was gonna go, but it was still interesting to see it play out and everything. So no notes. For the most part, somewhat predictable, I would say, but it was something you were expecting, so it's not really any surprise there. Okay, I want to talk about the ending, because throughout this book, since the flashbacks started, or even from the beginning, I was thinking, like, how's Voldemort gonna go down? Like, I was thinking one of them was gonna die. Again, I didn't think of this as a romance, so I really didn't care. I care more for Hermione than I do for Draco, and I just would, like, I thought it would have been interesting if Draco died, just to kill Voldemort. That's not the way they went. They didn't go with Hermione or with Malfoy. They went with Ginny killing Voldemort. It was just less of a confrontation that I would have pictured. Like, yeah, Ginny like was getting her revenge for Harry, but I feel like we focused so much on Hermione or Draco getting their revenge and beating Voldemort that I thought that was the way they should have gone. But Ginny's good for that too. Like, I don't mind it. But I kind of wish that Draco would have done it and then maybe died. I don't know. That would have been good for Hermione though, because, you know, Hermione's really relying on Draco, so that would have hurt her as well, but I would have thought that was interesting. Okay, I don't remember if I talked about this at the beginning, but, you know, this book is being turned into alchemized, and I think one of the reasons why Manacled in particular works is because we have ties to the Harry Potter series as a whole, and reading all of those 7 books, getting to know the relationship that Hermione has to all of these people really impacts what's going on in this story. And I feel like that's why, at least for me, it works so well, because seeing Hermione's relationship take a hit like that really impacted me, because I remember everything that happened like in the past, and I'm like, but guys, can we just please be friends again? Can we talk like we used to? And can we just like all understand each other and get through this together? And I was like, guys, please work it out. Like, please, can we be friends again? And that just didn't happen, which made it hurt like 10 times more. And that's kind of what I'm wondering in terms of Alchemized. Like, how are we gonna build up these relationships to look and feel the way they did here? Yeah, Alchemized comes out in September, I think. Either way, I'm gonna pick up that book and I'm gonna read it again, because I'm really interested in seeing what gets changed about the story, because I feel like a lot would need to be changed. Like, I don't know, like reading this and knowing everything and seeing these characters, and that's also why, like, these characters, like minor characters that play a role here, like Gabrielle Delacour, Gabrielle Delacour, like, we know her relationship with her sister. Her sister was in the Goblet of Fire. Like, we know that they're very close, like, which you could say in like Alchemized that she has a sister who's like really close to her. But we also know, I don't know how this is gonna work. We have so many characters in these books that we sorry, you tipped over. We have a lot of characters that we need to know a lot about in this new book, because we have no information about. Oh my god, my thing keeps tipping over. But yeah, in this new book, I feel like there's a lot of people, new characters that have no backstory, especially like going into this for the first time, not knowing anything about like this is a brand new book. Like we need to, I don't know. Honestly, I'll see when it comes out how everything happens and how everything has been worked out in this new book. I'm gonna read it. What can I say? I'm very interested actually. But yeah, I'll pick it up when it comes out. I'm gonna read it anyway. I'm gonna try to treat it in a different light than I did this one because I'm gonna go into that book thinking I know nothing about any of the characters. Like it's a full brand new character list and a world that I don't know yet. Like I think that's the way I'm gonna approach it. But yeah, that's about it. I gave this book a 4.6 out of 5 stars, and that's looking at this for the plot, like the battle against Voldemort and looking at the relationships and how they were impacted by this war. It's not as a romance, certainly. Yeah, just overall, I thought this was a really well thought out book, and it did have an impact on my feelings, okay? So yeah, that's what I rated this. It was a nice surprise, honestly. Like, I felt the 4-star rating like 3/4 through, and I was like, you know what? Can't deny it. Like, this is good. And this is where I landed on the rating. So it's a really good book. Honestly, not a miss. And I feel like I've read a few good books this year, which is great. So this is just another one to add to the list. And yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you read this book, what you thought about it, thoughts, comments, concerns. I would love to hear all about them. If you liked the video, please give it a like, subscribe maybe. And if you want to keep up with me anywhere else, I have all my socials linked down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye!